asked, I said, how much is this movie? This is more than
Yeah. Inflation.
Yeah, they're like, it's inflation. It's like, no, I don't need inflation. I need lubricant.
I don't need that anymore.
She didn't laugh. 7-year-old cashier. This is more than an inflation joke. You know what my favorite opening joke, though, is?
What?
It's when you got the key. You got to start it like right before you hit go live, and it goes on. And then once everything stopped shaking, they said it was a 3.0 on the Richter. I said, Richter? I hardly know her.
Yeah, that's an old joke. You need to get...
I know it's an old joke, but Richter, oh my god, it's like that's what she said. The format is old.
You know my favorite joke, right?
What's up?
What does a snail say when riding on the back of a turtle?
What does a snail say when riding the back of a turtle? Hold on.
Wee.
Alright, I'm gonna start on my end too.
Okay, I need your link. Oh, I got your link. It's in X. I have it already. It's the same link, right?
What link? The
StreamYard.
The link I sent is
Like
for how people join.
But the link you sent me is not a special link for like...
No, anyone can use that to join. I'm gonna use that link. I'll pin it.
Okay, I'll pin it too.
Okay, but I'm gonna go live on my end,
Okay. I'll go live soon on mine too.
Okay, so am I just gonna be talking to your fucking... your background?
No, we've been live for a while.
That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, starting soon, the other half of the stream, stuffing his face with nutrients. I did that earlier. Are we live?
I'm live.
Ladies and gentlemen, can anyone out there hear me? Is Reed Nicewander out there?
Yeah.
Our #1 fan?
Yep. He's here.
Reed is the president of the...
Hair Club for Men.
You get offended when I constantly make fun of your hairline?
No, but you don't seriously think I'm 70.
I
I know, but you don't think I'm seriously 70 years old, do you?
How old are you?
Oh my goodness.
I don't think you're 70. You've told me before. You're like 50 something.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I say 70.
Because, sometimes I'm wondering just
how old am I? Am I almost... am I not hip enough for this?
I got to find... What's the name of your channel again? I got to find you.
That's funny. It's good stuff. It's PF Young. J-U-N.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You're like a son to me. I mean, how can I not remember your channel name? PF what?
PF Young. J-U-N-G. I'm going to kill you. Look, there are people watching. They've come to us for answers. We have to give them answers. Well, first off, did you put the link to join in your stream yet?
Yeah, it's pinned and everything.
All right, I'll put it in.
What do you think this is? Amateur hour?
Well, listen, I think the adults should converse, make sure everyone knows the truth about all the important issues going on. The state-funded media is one of those. So hold on, let me put the stream here.
Did you get your Russian check yet?
No.
Mine came in the mail yesterday.
Yeah, I saw a good meme. It was like all these different influencers got Russian money, and then Hassan Piker was looking around like, wait, you guys got paid? What's going on? What do you know about that, by the way?
What I know is apparently some Russian organization gave money to another company, which gave money to another, like, for example, one of Tim Pool's companies.
Yeah, Tenet Media.
Tenet Media. So post-production. So to me, all this is just a big joke. I mean, the riled upness of it.
What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a big joke. It did. I believe they all like Tim Pool and them issued statements and all that, so it's real.
No, I'm not. I don't mean it's a joke that way. I mean, to think that the evil Russians are controlling Tim Pool is a joke.
Oh yeah. Well, this is what I was going to say. Is first off, did you watch? Do you watch any of those people? Do you watch Lauren Chen, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin?
Maybe once every few months, but no, not really.
Okay. Yeah. I liked
I only
a
watch
lot
your
of what I saw
channel.
from. Thank you. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of what I saw from Lauren Shen. When she debated Andrew Wilson, she seemed pretty reasonable. I made a whole reaction to it, but I consider myself a pretty good judge of character. I clocked you pretty early on as
Thank you. I mean,
what? Yeah, someone who I could exploit for views and money.
I see.
And wisdom. By the way, I've quoted you multiple times now on my streams. You know that? Did you see my last conversation with Sitchin?
Oh, how could I miss
Adam
it?
and
Yeah,
Rob
you said I came up with this great hypothetical about if it were true that the election was stolen, then what Trump did is a noble thing.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah,
and it made Sitch think for a bit. But anyway, I consider myself a good judge of character, and Lauren Chen, I would not have expected to be running. The allegation is that she lied to the other people. And that they're victims. That's what Tim Pool said. I'm a victim in this. And so did, I think, Lauren Southern.
That's a bad strategy for Tim to use.
Victimhood?
Yeah.
What he's technically true.
What he should say is, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
Yeah, see, okay, that's the interesting thing.
Aren't you?
See, here's the thing.
Aren't you for capitalism? Like, if a Russian company wants to give me money for stuff I've already produced so they can't influence me, what's wrong with that?
What is propaganda is the question. Because, so for example, American propaganda is real, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Propaganda doesn't equal falsehood.
Correct. Often it does. But that's not definitional. We'll bring on Bert from Australia here in a minute here. One sec.
Australia? They're the craziest.
Well, we'll see if he's really from Australia. We'll be able to tell from the accent, Doug. They're very they stick out like a sore thumb. But that's the interesting thing, because it's propaganda doesn't necessarily mean false. So if they get paid to push that, it's you still have to contend with the ideas themselves. And that's what I would have said about Black Lives Matter. It's even if the Chinese and whoever were stirring up Black Lives Matter riots, it's you still got to contend with the ideology. There's still true believers in the United States you got to deal with. So propaganda is a modulating force, but the underlying idea. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay. Let's bring on Bert from Australia. Bert from Australia coming on in 3, 2.
I think I fixed I fixed the delay on my end. I screen captured the YouTube instead of the StreamYard.
Great. It's now an even more time synced.
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Bert. Hey, how you doing? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? You guys are talking propaganda, so you've heard the tenant media stuff?
Yeah, Bert from Australia. I think if my senses do not deceive me, there's a relatively significant lag. It might be about 6 seconds.
I'd say 2 or 3.
2 or 3? Okay. Doug says 2 or 3. I say 6. That's fine. We can work with it. But we'll just have to handle that. But yes, we did hear about tenant media. We did hear about the Russian propaganda. What do you think? Do you think that everything that the Russians say is false, or is there potentially some truth to the propaganda?
So, obviously, you love logic. So you know that everything they say can't be false. That's just like a fallacy. You can't do that. Genetic fallacy. But I'd say that the majority of what they say to American audiences is just false.
All right. What are some of the things that you think are truly in the propaganda realm?
So if we go all the way back to the Hillary Clinton stuff around the Russia investigation, the idea that Hillary had actually done all these terrible things, Benghazi and the uranium one, and what's the other thing? The email scandals, all of that sort of thing. Almost none of what was pushed on right-wing media by the conservative movement, conservative politicians was true. It was almost none of it was true. And now we've moved on to the full-on Russia invasion of Ukraine, and most of that is false as well.
Doug, I get bitched at this about all the time by my left-wing audience, which is apparently most of my audience now. I should be supporting Ukraine.
That's because most of them are atheists.
It's true. That's a problem in and of itself. That's what's such a Jordan Peterson fan. What is your whole thing on? What do you think about Ukraine, Doug? Should we be falling for the Russian propaganda? We should be saving our Ukrainian brethren.
I don't understand how people think that propaganda just automatically changes their mind on things. Yeah, I'm the type of person who has always been against war. I don't like endless wars, so I rather stay out of it. I don't need the Russians to tell me that.
Yeah, me too, Bert.
Yeah, it just seems to be a complete switch of political ideology prior to the Russian invasion of Ukraine for a lot of conservatives. I'm not saying that's what happened to you guys. You guys can be anti-war for your entire lives, and that means you'll probably be anti-war now. But before, the conservative movement seemed to be that there was justification for a lot of conflict, a lot of wars.
Nobody cares.
A lot
Nobody
of
cares
other
about the
stuff. Sorry, I talk
conservative
with my
movement.
hands.
No. I'm waving you. No. I also talk with my hands. I'm waving this off as nobody cares about the conservative movement. You're talking to P.F. Young and Pinecreek Doug, okay? The new conservative, not the conservative. Yeah. I'm centrist. Legally, I'm far right centrist, something like that. So talk to us, okay? Surely you agree that our pacifism is warranted.
No, not at all. I think it's the intolerance paradox all over again. You've just scaled it up to countries. The idea that a nation can invade other nations and we all just sort of go, well, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to start another war, so we can't deal with this negative action from a powerful anti-democracy nation. It makes no sense to me. It's basically allowing your kid to be whipped because you don't want to step in and beat up the other kid.
Ukraine is not my kid.
Yeah, is Ukraine the United States' kid?
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh. What do we get out of it? What does the kid give us?
So we got nuclear. We got a lot of nuclear weapons removed from a fledgling state. We get trading rights with Ukraine as they enter EU association agreements. Not to mention just another stable democracy in Europe, which is what America wants, because we want to be the powerful friend of the largest, most advanced association group in the entire world, the EU. Plus NATO.
The what? What's the most powerful? The EU?
Yeah, don't you know?
Yeah,
that?
so besides the US, the most powerful, well, actually, no, it's the most powerful association bar none. So it's a group of countries that have come together to create both a trading bloc as well as a military bloc that is, I think, the most powerful
Paul,
in the
do we
world
need
as
the
an
EU?
association, not a singular country.
Well, look, maybe instead of, why don't we try to normalize relationships with Russia and not push them in the hands of China? Wouldn't that be a good idea?
Well, we did do that. That was foreign policy until, I guess, Crimea. It started to slow down. But even after Crimea, up until the invasion, it was the US policy. We kept normalizing. And it was only after they invaded Ukraine that the US went, okay, we're not going to have companies in there anymore. We're going to sanction the shit out of them. We're going to actually support a democratic pro-NATO government in Ukraine now that they're pro-NATO from Russian aggression. Would that not make sense to you, that you'd want a nation that already has most of the values of your nation as another part of your alliance movement, or instead of this one that's been adversarial for its entire existence?
Listen,
continues to be so.
I'm going to ask you what Destiny asked me, okay? Are you a Nazi?
What?
No, I'm definitely not a Nazi. I hold the same values.
He said after hesitating. Well, listen, Bert, because you said...
I consider things.
That makes you a Nazi.
You consider things, so that doesn't mean that propaganda works on you, right?
Well, no, propaganda works on every single person.
No, not me.
That's because you're just, I don't know, so much better than everyone, which is fair. Like,
not everyone, but most. Yes, I'll say that. Well, hold on, Bert. Ukraine is full of Nazis, so why are their values more like America than Russia, which is a good Christian nation?
That's propaganda, Paul.
Well, actually, it is. If you look at the Ukrainian parliament, it was only one seat was held by a far-right political entity, and the Azov battalion, which was the far-right Nazi battalion in Ukraine, it had like 10% of its members that were associated with Nazis. The rest weren't, and then it was disbanded, split apart, and they were all killed fighting off Russian aggression. So I don't see how any of that's Nazi to me, buddy.
That's fair. But we do got to move on to another caller here soon. But I just want to.
Yeah, that's fine. But
have you been
maybe
to Ukraine?
No. Have you been to Afghanistan?
Maybe.
And what are your opinions on Afghanistan?
I would never have opinions on a country I haven't visited.
I see.
Which is more than I can say for you, but no, I'm just joking. Hey, thanks for calling in, Bert. The delay does make it hard to get our classic back and forth in. But appreciate
I understand. Have fun, guys, and maybe look into the Azov Battalion and the percentage of far.
Well, hey, before Bert goes, I want to. Oh, he's a strong.
Go ahead.
Doug
wants to hold.
Yeah, before you go, Bert, pretend you live in the United States and you were funding the Ukraine war mostly. Would you rather that money be spent protecting Ukraine against the Russians, or would you rather use that on your, let's say, own border?
That question is malformed. So
malformed.
I don't understand why you're asking it.
Isn't it interesting, Paul? When I ask a tough question like that, it becomes a malformed question. It's a "what would you rather spend your money on" question. How can that be malformed?
So the reason it's malformed is it shows a lack of understanding of how the economics and the civics in the US actually work. And the budget isn't, this term zero sum because you understand some economics. It's not zero sum, so you can actually spend money on both. And I'd rather money is spent on both than just saying, okay, if we take all this military money and just switch it suddenly over to domestic money, that will somehow fix everything. But you understand that inflation is caused by...
Bert, would you rather spend your money on a Buick or a Toyota?
My checkbook is zero sum, so I'd have to borrow money. But if you talk to me about the borrowing, yeah.
Half my brain tied behind my back, Paul.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
But you understand,
international
Doug,
economics.
You understand that what you asked, it shows a complete lack of understanding between household budgets and government budgets, right? They're not the same thing. There's massive differences in the way they work.
I understand they're not the same thing, but I asked you a very simple question. The simple question is...
It's not simple, actually. It's a malformed, complex, bad faith question that you asked.
Yeah, and I agree, and we're not going to be able to iron it out now. But I do appreciate it.
I think your comment was malformed.
Thank you. Keep being bad faith, Doug. It was a good try. You can try again next time.
Yeah, I agree. Godspeed, Bert. Peace.
How can a preference question be malformed? I mean,
Doug,
what's wrong with these people?
Can you quit your petty feminine complaining? How can I quit that? Just answer the question. Okay.
I find it entertaining.
Okay, I'm gonna bring on two callers here next. We'll bring on two at a time. All right, and we'll see if either of them are. What do you think? I think one of them left. My old friend Miguel, I believe. Gabriel and Miguel. Here we go. Gabriel and Miguel.
Oh my!
Miguel.
Hello there.
And Gabriel. Hello, both of you. Okay, both of you. All right. Hold on. We got a nice crowd here. Okay. Let's go, Miguel. I think Gabriel, you came on last time first. So Miguel, what's on your mind? What's up?
So a lot of things have been on my mind since the last time that we spoke. Finally, the gender ideology crap has been the least of my problems. It kind of bores me now.
Nice.
My new thing now is Candace Owens and her entire conspiracy rant.
Oh, Doug, this is actually interesting. I want to get your opinion on that. Did you see, Doug, the Tucker Carlson Martyr Maid podcast about World War II and Churchill?
Oh, yes, I did. That was very interesting.
It was very interesting. The reaction to it was
for the uninformed, since I'm sure I'm not the only one in your audience that doesn't know what this thing you guys are talking about is.
Excellent. Thank you, Gabriel.
Can I summarize?
Go ahead, please, Doug. Yeah.
So we had a historian on Tucker Carlson who said basically, how do I phrase this? Winston Churchill was a psychopath. He wanted the war to happen. The war could have been ended much sooner than it was. But because Churchill was a narcissistic psychopath, weird, crazy guy, he was basically responsible for the duration of World War II. And this historian also said that maybe the reason why so many Jews were killed in the Holocaust was because they couldn't feed them. And they actually did the compassionate thing to kill them quick.
And what do you think of that, Doug?
I don't buy the second one.
I also don't buy the second one. I also don't think he said. I watched at least the first 75% of it. He was talking about prisoners of war when he talked about they didn't have enough food to feed the Eastern prisoners. which that I could believe. The Jews one, that Mein Kampf, I think, was not that I've read Mein Kampf. I would never ever read Mein Kampf because I wouldn't want to be accused of being a Nazi.
Come on, don't be like that, Paul.
Well, listen,
You're
hold on. I just want to be clear. Nobody loves Jews more than I do. Okay, and anti-Semitism is the worst thing that anyone can do ever.
But this sounds like a similar type of theory to like the United States didn't need to use both nuclear bombs on Hiroshima.
I agree with that, by the way.
So it's like
I don't think we need to nuke them both.
That sounds like a type of thing that's really hard to prove definitively one way or the other. But it's like, what are the chances? Just knowing what people are like and knowing politicians. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's fair. Likely. Listen, all right. I also in midway decided, Gabriel, I'm going to take you off and I'll bring you back on afterwards. We're going to go with one caller at a time. This is too much back and forth. It's fine. We're learning as we go. So, Doug, do you believe that the Daryl Cooper guy was onto something?
Yeah, I do. I
think so. I absolutely.
I think it's very conceivable that Churchill was a little crazy.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, the spin on the Holocaust thing, that was. You think it was more about the prisoners of war, not the?
Well, did you watch the whole interview?
I was like you. I watched about 2/3 of it, but I watched the section that was labeled World War II.
Yeah. I watched that whole thing, and I believe he was referring to the Soviet prisoners that they captured in the Eastern Front. I don't think he was saying that the Jews dying and being thrown in concentration camps was an accident or didn't happen. I didn't get that vibes from him, and I believe he clarified on Twitter. But anyway, Miguel, what do you think of all this?
Honestly, I first thought that you were talking about the Candace Owens and Rabbi Shmuley.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
But no, the Tucker Carlson I haven't seen yet, but I mean, not really surprised because yes, I'm perfectly aware of the possibility that Churchill was a psycho, and yeah, it makes sense. So if I was presented with that knowledge now, I wouldn't be surprised. But
what did you want to talk about with Candace Owens? Because Candace Owens is also in the anti-Semite doghouse.
Yes, I think I've been thinking a lot about this now because now I'm working in some projects, some narrative, some storytelling projects that involves Judaism, and is going to be an essential piece for me to explore the history of Judaism and anti-Semitism. And honestly, I'm going to be honest to you. I don't think that she's an anti-Semite because she actually is one. I just think that she is an ignorant woman that creates ideas that come out as anti-Semitic, and they are problematic. My reason for this is because I think that, again, we can speak a lot about her departure from the Daily Wire, her beef with Ben Shapiro, but I think that leaving the Daily Wire really fried her brain or something because first she was against the vaccines. She says
she's gone on a lot of anti-science rabbit hole.
Yes, and I think it is so ridiculous because now she is coming off with science is a pagan religion made by Satanists, and I'm like, girl, are you aware that the science that you're demonizing is the same science that you use to validate your pro-life arguments, the arguments that there are only two sexes, and vice versa.
This is fair.
And now she is denying evolution. She's making fun of dinosaurs. She's playing around flat earthers.
Not making fun of dinosaurs. God damn it!
No. If I was a kid, because I was.
Hold on, Miguel. Just FYI, remember, the title of the stream is "Come Argue with Us." Number one.
Yes. So I wanted to know the opinion of Doug about the situation and if he thinks that this conspiracy theories, or at least misleading ideas of hers, can influence conservatives in America.
Not older ones, I don't think that much. Like people like me, my age, we pretty much have seen a lot over the years and have thought about it. So will Candace Owens influence me? No. But I do think, like, I'll push back since the title of the stream is arguments. I will agree with Candace Owens that people have become more distrustworthy of the scientific community. For example, saying that it's science that a man can be a woman and vice versa. That if you take the COVID vaccine, you cannot get COVID and transmit it. Like, we realize that these things are now false. And so people are a little less trusting of the science community. And I do think a lot of atheists view science as their new holy text. You've heard the phrase, well, I follow the science. It's like, this is my... So I think that's what Candace Owens is getting at. I honestly haven't heard what you've said, so I don't know. But
Have you
I haven't
heard what she said about Jews and pedophiles in Israel and all that?
No. What is she?
No.
No.
What do you do all day, Doug?
I don't
Jesus
listen.
Christ.
She's becoming a QAnon
I don't listen to your channel.
conspiracy theorist. She's becoming a QAnon conspiracy theorist, and now she believes that
That's
a group
rough.
of cabals around the world.
Frankist cultists. Yeah, it's getting pretty weird.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, certainly the debate with Rabbi Shmuley only served to make her seem more credible. Once again,
Yeah.
no
But-
good
but-
saying that she's just crazy or whatnot because you just drive it underground. But go ahead, and then I got to move on to the next caller.
But to answer to you, Doug, I agree with you. I personally consider myself a agnostic atheist and an anti-theist in a philosophical sense. But
An
I agree
agnostic
with you.
atheist? What? I've never heard of that. What is an atheist? Sorry.
You don't know an atheist or an anti-theist?
Oh
Sorry.
my God, he's making fun of your accent.
Sorry.
Racism.
It's okay.
Wait, actually, not racism. Can't be. Are you?
I
you're
love that
Portuguese,
look you
right?
gave
Yeah,
me.
Portugal. Can you be? Wait, can a white person be a racist towards a Portuguese person, or are Portuguese people white?
Oh, good question.
I mean, we're kind of. I mean, I don't know. Like we.
What do you
are-
identify as, Miguel?
We're from Lusitania, so we're kind of the original Latinos.
Fair. All right. We deem is racist. Continue.
So I'm saying, although I consider myself an agnostic atheist, I think that we must see science as a guide to understand reality and not as a religion. And I think it's perfectly plausible what you're saying, that turning science into a religion can be problematic.
Yep.
And yes, absolutely. Now people are twisting science to say that they are 100 and beyond genders and all of those things. And
that science can't be manipulated by big corporations and money.
See,
I
and
can.
the same thing goes
I
to the
can.
vaccines.
Hey,
And that's
and
the
I'll say
reason
whatever.
why it's very, very problematic, because these corporations are the ones that are hurting science. And it's also same thing, for example, with climate change. Corporations and activism are actually twisting the science of climate.
We agree. Miguel, hold on. I gotta cut you off because we do got.
Yes, sorry.
I appreciate. Hey, call in the next morning show.
Yeah.
Sure. It was great to meet you, Doug.
Miguel,
And-
come on my show someday. Like,
No.
Paul's,
Don't go to Doug's show.
Paul doesn't
No.
need help. I mean, he's so
Doug has-
big and
Doug's
powerful.
Doug's show is trash.
I'll
His
come in,
audience-
both of you.
his audience
Sure.
is all
I'll
kinds
go
of
in
cringe
too.
atheists. No. Cringe atheists. All right, we want Jordan Peterson cultural Christians only on this channel. Okay.
I'm an anti-theist. Remember that.
You're a
Paul.
cultural Christian. It's fine. All right,
I'm an
guys,
atheist. Come to my
Bye.
channel.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask to the people in the back who has something to bitch and argue about with Doug and I.
You have a
and
call
I'll
screener,
move on.
right?
I've got my thing in the back. I can see the people in the back. Oh, hold on. I see. Okay, Doug. This guy's come on my stream a couple times. This John character.
Well, I like
right?
him.
He's a sharp guy. Yeah, you'll like him because he puts up a fight, but I don't know if he's a match for you. He's almost beat me in debates.
Don't worry, Paul.
That sentence alone is. So
I've already
fucking-
tied half my brain behind my back to make this whole.
All right, here we go.
stream
John, I'm
fair.
gonna bring you on. 3, 2.
Hey,
What's up,
Paul.
John? What's up?
Yeah.
Hi, John.
So, yeah, I'll say. So I wanted to talk to you guys
Hold on.
about
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Have you seen any of Doug's stuff before? Do you know who Doug is?
I mean, I've seen him on your channel.
Okay. Yeah. That's really all anyone knows. him
That's the
from.
only place
That's fair.
most people know me only from Paul's channel. Yeah.
Yeah. He's slow on the jokes. He has to repeat it after I do. Go ahead, John.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm doing
so
this for your
voter
viewers,
ID.
Paul.
Go ahead,
So-
John. Sorry.
It seems, Paul, for you, you're kind of in favor of voter ID for you, and I think Doug as well. You say it makes sense. Like, why shouldn't we have some sort of ID or verification? Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, of course. I don't even.
Doug, same for you.
Oh, sorry. I was. You're talking about voting. You need ID.
Yeah. Like, are you in favor of the voter ID stuff?
Yeah, I think so because I really don't want these Trump voters to cheat.
Nice. That's
Me neither.
clever.
See what I did there, Paul?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So with the whole voter ID thing, the way or the reasoning behind, of course, why I am kind of against it. The whole thing is for democracy to work and actually function as intended, you actually want as many people as possible voting. So it's the whole representation piece of it. I mean, the reason why we have a democracy is to, represent the population and their aims, their needs, their goals.
Okay, John.
So getting into the why ID is bad is it disenfranchises voters, essentially, cutting down the population of eligible voters. So of course people bitch and moan like, oh, what are you saying? Like,
I'm
poor
salivating.
people don't know how to get an ID. Of course they do. They just go to the DMV, yada, yada, yada. However, we do have an actual history in this country of doing this exact thing of disenfranchising voters. So there's a real world example. And
By requiring driver's license?
well, having any form of ID is one thing.
All right, hold on. All right, I want to let Doug cash in on this. Just to be clear, Doug, I would have anticipated that John would have been in favor of voter ID because he's a sharp guy. He's pro Second Amendment, right, John?
Yeah, I'm not a flaming liberal.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well, sounds like it. But
so
go
John,
ahead.
John, you said you wanted to have the most people vote as possible. You said, right?
Essentially.
Okay,
That's the idea.
So should we lower the age?
No, we still have an age of majority for a reason.
What's the reason?
Why at some point do you have to be considered an adult versus a child?
Yeah, but what's the why 18? Like 16, 17? Why not those ages?
I mean, you're asking.
We can expand the number of voters.
Sure, but being an adult in this country, or in any country really, is its own distinct stage of life where you are responsible now for your own well-being. And you're a citizen before you become 18, but now you have an actual say in the process. Now, there's like a certain point where you become old enough to have that say. Is
like most kids when they're 16, some of them are very political and very aware. And there's some 20-year-olds who have no clue what's going on. Wouldn't you rather have a 16-year-old who's well-versed in the political arena versus a 20-year-old who doesn't know what they're doing, thinking about politics?
I mean, you could say that, sure, but I don't really think of it like that. I think once you're an adult, you should be able to live as you please. So
Okay.
I agree with. I don't know about the voting age angle, Doug. I think this is better.
Okay. New angle. I have a lot of friends who are pretty high up in the Republican Party, and I'm against this. I just want to say this. I'm against this, but they have told me that they're organizing a huge fraud coming up this November. Any ideas, John, on how we can stop this? You know what they're doing? They're going to get all the Republican immigrants that came across and say they're citizens when they're not. How do we stop this?
We already have voter registration. So I'm not the most well-versed on how each minute detail works, but
yeah, but you know what they're going to do? They're going to register. They're going to go to the DMV or wherever, and they're going to register, and they're going to just say they're a citizen, and when they're asked for proof, they say, I don't have it on me, sorry. But they're going to see if they're going to get away with it. Should we just hope that they can not get away with it?
I mean, this presumes that every election ever has had this level of fraud because we haven't needed it.
Oh, no, maybe not. I'm saying it's coming in the future. The Republicans are planning to cheat. How are we going to stop this, John?
Why hasn't it been done previously is what I would ask. I'd say, well...
Because we haven't had all the Republican immigrants coming across like we have in the last 3.5 years.
Then no, we've had illegal immigrants coming over for as long as this country has existed. Presumably, if this plan
they've done internal polling. My friends, the high ups at the Republican Party, have done polling, and actually, the vast majority of the immigrants who have come across the border the last 3.5 years, I know this is a shock to you, but they're Republican. They're
Catholic, a lot of Catholic.
Yeah, they lean far right, and they're going to try. And probably the vast majority will fail, but all you need is a few thousand here and there can swing in the swing state.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I just don't buy that because.
But let's say,
Hold
okay,
on,
John, let's
don't
say
convince
it's
me of the
true.
hypothetical.
Yeah, let's say it were to be planned, and this is what they're planning to do. The question still remains: how would you stop it?
I would say that our systems in place for voter registration, again, I don't know every minute detail, but I assume that they're in place in a functional capacity to prevent massive fraud. Again, like we could look in the past, we've investigated fraud in the past. We're doing that right now.
John, but
fraud.
part of the process of voter registration is showing ID, yes?
Depends on where you are. I mean, for me, I didn't have to show an ID when I registered.
Okay, so you could be an immigrant from a country other than the United States who's not a citizen, not show your ID, and vote, is what you're saying.
See, I think that shows your ignorance of how registration works, because you can't just magically appear and make stuff happen. I have been in this country for my entire life. I have a social security number. I have a history of paying taxes. I have a paper trail of all this.
A paper trail, you say?
Do you have any ID to back up these claims? Now, hold on. Because, Doug, you're getting... this is... Let me take it.
He's admitting that you need a paper trail in order to vote, right?
Yeah.
So, John, what is wrong?
You need to be a citizen, yes. And presumably again, I don't know every single detail, but when you register, they check, hey, does this person exist? Is this person real? Are they dead or alive? Oh, okay.
Are they a citizen? Right? Are they a citizen is another one.
Yeah, why don't you... what's the issue, John, with just having citizens vote? I mean, I don't understand...
What do you mean? I want more people to vote. Like, what are you trying to say?
Well, no, hang on. You got to ask him point blank. Ask him point blank. Are you okay with non-citizens voting who live in the United States? Okay,
what if
good.
they're legal immigrants who live in the district and are counted for census purposes, which they are? Do you think they should be entitled to vote?
No, I think only citizens should vote.
Okay, then, John, let me ask you this. Why not have simple ID to just make sure?
Because we already have registration.
Okay, then what? But
you just admitted you don't need ID for registration.
It doesn't matter if you don't need ID for registration. You still need to register. And non-citizens.
What is the purpose of registration, though? What is the purpose of registration? It's to verify.
Again, I don't know every minute.
I guess I just don't understand what, just morally, fundamentally, because you said you want more people to vote fundamentally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how democracy works. Yeah. I mean, the more people that vote,
not necessarily,
the more representative those not the constituents, the constituents aren't the people. Well, like more people that vote, the more represented the American population is. And
but John, what if a lot of the people who vote because we don't have ID laws are not Americans? They're illegal immigrants, for example.
That's not what's happening.
Well, how do you know?
Manufactured scare tactic saying, hey, this thing could happen. Hey, it sounds kind of scary, but people who don't understand how the process works.
Didn't you just say you don't have an understanding of the minutia? So how do I know that this is true?
Well, then you can go investigate registration and you can dig into the details, because Paul, I know you have the intelligence to understand it. However, you stay ignorant, not knowing the details of so many topics you talk about.
Of course.
And feign ignorance, saying, hey, we're just having a smoke sesh. We're just talking. I don't want to dig into the details. I don't want you to autistically explain to me. But then when it comes to those details that matter, that's how
I just asked you for the details that matter. And you said you don't know.
Because I have trust in our institutions and our system.
Okay. So you come. Okay, I see. So you're criticizing me for having a blunt session and saying, listen, I don't want to talk about it. And then you say, well, I just have trust, so I'm just going to agree with it.
So you're saying, okay, Paul, you know full well how much of our society is on trust. You don't have to.
Of course.
Be ignorant.
Of course.
You know better.
Well, it's also deductive logic, right? If we don't verify who's voting with simple ID, then it's likely that fraud will increase. It's basic logic.
It's not basic logic, because
tell me how that's logic. Don't say there's no evidence for it. Tell me how logically how that doesn't follow.
Because we already have registration.
Okay,
this is the third time we've gone.
Let me try this.
Go ahead, Doug.
So John, let's say you go register to vote. Okay, you just turned 18, and I'm behind you at the DMV, and I overhear your name, and you say, "I would like to register as a Democrat." I'm assuming you're a Democrat. Am I right?
No, I would not identify as a Democrat.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, but anyhow,
I
so
definitely would not
I overhear
identify
your
as-
name. Then, and because you at the DMV you're at, I can guess what polling station you're going to go to, whatever. I go to the polling station and I say your name, and I vote using your name. That's bad, right?
But that's not how it works.
What do you mean it's not how it works?
You're just making up a scenario in which this fraud can happen. But in the real world, when you go to vote, that is not what happens.
Well, let's say they ask for paperwork for proof of registration, whatever. I say, sorry, I don't have it on me. I just came from work. I was in a rush, but I'm a U.S. citizen. I want to vote, but I use your name to do it. Do you think the systems are in place to prevent that?
Well, it depends on who's registered or not. Like, you can't just walk up and register under someone else's name. That's just not how.
No. I'm saying you registered. I overheard it, and then I go vote under your name.
But again, you're manufacturing a scenario that doesn't exist in the real world.
How do you know that?
How do I know that at the polling station they're just blurting out names and letting anyone just walk up and do it?
If they don't have ID, how are they validating who?
In other words, I'm talking about identity theft. How do you know that people don't use identity theft to vote?
Well, now identity theft is a whole other topic.
I'm using your identity. I know your name. But there's no ID card.
Identity theft works. It's just not that easy. You don't just walk up and say I'm so and so, and then are able. So like, when I go to vote, I have to present my ID. That's a thing. Like, are you talking about?
That's what we're talking.
That's what we're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Not voter ID. That's
okay. Hold on. Fair enough. What do you think we're talking about when we say voter ID?
Well, Paul, you explicitly talk about having to do competency tests or having to get specific ID.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. Hold on. That is a hypothetical. That's different.
So we're all agreed. We're all for voter ID. Right. Thank you, John.
John, you got to come. Listen, you got to come prepared. You got to do your research, John. You can't just come into the blunt circle. We're just hanging out and try to start a fight when there's nothing to fight about. Okay.
This guy. So,
all right,
Paul,
all right. I got to move on to the next call. But go ahead. I'll give you the last word. Hit me. Roast me.
I was just gonna say. So you're hypothetical on. I want there to be a competency test.
Yeah. I'm not married to the competency test. I'm married to the civil service, and that may include a competency test.
Yeah, I think they're the same thing.
We can get one the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, John, we all agree. Voter ID at the polling place.
I'm glad we shouted at each other to, But it's not voter ID is the distinction.
John, this is why blunt sessions are so superior to debates, because we never would have got to this point unless we all kumbaya and just hung around and talk.
I'm suspicious, right? John.
All right. John, always please come back again, and this time have something we actually disagree on, because you're fun to argue with. All right, Godspeed, John. Peace.
How can he possibly have used the phrase voter ID and then and make it mean competency test?
Well, I've talked about wanting competency tests, but that's not what
I know. But that's different than voter ID. What's he talking about?
All right, hold on. We got a full studio here, so I need people who's got their cameras on to. Do you have something to argue with me and Doug about? Raise your hand. JJ, I saw a thumbs up. Is that raising your hand? JJ, not JJ McCullough. Doug, not your favorite. A common JJ, not a rare.
Why do you suck up to JJ so much? I saw you last time with me, and I mean, like,
listen, JJ is he's a liberal, he's in his bubble, and you have to.
But you're calling him like a little baby. I mean,
that's what you got. Listen, Doug, if you believe that these liberals are in their little bubbles, you got to be coddling.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, JJ, I'm going to bring you on. Jacob, I would bring you on, but we just had a black guy on. If I bring two black guys on in a row, I'm going to get accused of racism against white people and not having enough diversity. But we'll bring Jacob on in a sec, because Jacob's also a good
We need a woman. Is there any token women in here?
Doug, it's 7:40 on Thursday night on PF Young's YouTube channel. There's not a woman in sight, I'll tell you that.
Is there any trans women? I mean,
JJ.
That's the second best thing.
Not that I can tell from. We'll see. All right, here we go. JJ, we'll bring on JJ. 3, 2. Hello, JJ.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
What's cracking? What do you think that Doug and or I are so wrong about that you have come to correct us?
It's definitely on the you side, but I do think Doug is a cool guy. I just think when you talk about the AI apocalypse,
yes,
it's all you always overhype it.
I hope so.
Sounds a bit
it's a lot of it is psychological projection on my part, right? If I constantly talk about the fear, then I don't internalize it. I put it on other people.
Hey, JJ, he's fallen for the Elon Musk propaganda.
I strongly try not to fall for any Elon Musk propaganda.
Whoa, Elon Musk is based, right? We all agree?
If that's the two of you, then yeah, we all agree.
All right, fair enough. All right, so hold on. So what do you specifically disagree with?
My specific disagreement, it depends on your positions. It's just that very often in your video, you just mention on passing, oh yeah, by the way, the only one thing that's inevitable is like the AI apocalypse is going to come and kill us all. And I just think that talking about like
it's going to kill a lot of us. I don't know about all of us, but
exactly, that's what's happening. So just saying this sort of thing sounds a bit like funny for anybody who knows what they're talking about. And I'm being intentionally aggressive here.
Really? I was going to say, you don't think there are doomers who are very knowledgeable and well regarded in the field?
There are some risks. There are some risks.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. The optimists, the AI optimists, they're P doom or whatever, probability doom.
Okay.
Like on the optimistic side, it's like 10 to 20%. It's like that's not nothing. So the optimists are like, yeah, there's a 20% chance that this is going to kill us all. But then the Eliezer Yudkowskis are saying it's 99.
But then they don't put a date on it. It's like saying there's
I would like to live for. I know Doug's only got a few years left, but you know, you and I, JJ, we're youthful.
That's right.
I don't want my kids being eaten up by fucking the Terminator dogs.
So as just like the original JJ, I like to talk about my videos as an award-winning video. And nice. I made an award-winning, like 46-minute analysis on the research papers. And I don't want to brag about anything. Do you have a YouTube channel? I have one video YouTube channel with a video about whether AI will. But I'm not trying to self-plug.
That's fine.
Yeah, no need to. So
I let Doug do it on the show.
AI can't even spell the word strawberry. You know that, right?
No, it can't count
exactly.
The number
How
of
many
R's.
R's are in there?
It can spell strawberry. It can't count the number of R's.
Oh yeah.
Listen, look. I hope that's the case, and I want that to be the case.
Right. So can I posit some stuff basically.
Yeah, posit a counter argument, and then because listen, there's 12 people in the back right here itching to bitch at me and Doug, all right? And you're a very friendly guy, and you'd be great on a Saturday stream, but tonight is for the combat and bitching at us.
That's fair. I wouldn't want to stay too long. Just to posit the argument.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of it, I think
we can educate Doug together.
The current progress that we've seen from GPT-2 to GPT-3 to GPT-4, it was very easy.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of data available on the internet that we just used and a lot of energy. So we just scaled technology that we had. Mm-hmm. But at this point, we've reached very close to the limit of data that is available to us. And so therefore, the people just start making claims about, but we can train it on generated data, and we can trade it on like. Oh
no, that'll work. That'll just fucking.
That loops through.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people in the industry are pretty aware of, and the most recent papers are pretty aware of. We're pretty much at like the current technology of LLMs are not going to take us to AGI in any way.
I hope you're fucking right. Although
JJ's never wrong.
Computational limit. Yeah, JJ's never wrong.
We
don't have the computational power because isn't Moore's law that it's just exponential constantly?
It's not the computational power. It's we don't have enough human data. There's not even enough human books and AI papers.
I see.
That you would train your model on.
Okay, that's good news. I hope we get to the AI winter.
Also, another limit is the power limit, the energy. Like currently, if we want to multiply the model size, just like we did from GPT-2 to GPT-3, we would need like a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, listen, Klaus Schwab is going to take out a lot of the people eating up our power. But
where are you calling from, JJ? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Canada. I'm from Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Just the other side, yeah.
Fellow Canadian here, but I'm a U.S. citizen now. So if we fight, I'm going to fight for the Americans, okay?
That's fair. I wouldn't fault you for it.
We're going to take your mounted police on their horses and show them who's boss.
All right. Got to move on to the next caller, JJ. Appreciate it, though.
Cheers.
All right. Godspeed. All right. Who has something to bitch about with me and Doug?
Preferably me, because, I mean, you're too sweet to bitch at.
On to.
But I'm a cantankerous old man, so
I'm diplomatic. All right, we'll bring Jacob on. Jacob's been chomping the bit. Jacob's also come on the show before. He's a little progressive for my tastes, but then again, most of the people on the space are. That's fine. So Jacob, we'll bring you on in 3, 2. What's happening, Jacob?
Hey, Paul. I'm the farthest from a progressive, by the way. I hate progressives so much.
We shall see. We shall see. What's your question? What do you think? What do you think we're wrong about?
There's so much I could disagree, but I think I'm going to make the claim here that the GOP is a fake organization and that it hasn't been a real political party since like 1993.
I agree with that. Doug, do you agree with that?
I mean, that's a malformed statement. I mean,
it's true. Like,
what do you mean by fake and real?
Yeah,
I mean,
hold on. Something else. Do a different one. Are you something else?
There's no deep state. There we go. There's just no such thing as a deep state.
There's no deep state. Doug, what do you think about the deep state? When you hear the word deep state, what comes to mind?
I think of power. I think of big army, big corporate interests in like Raytheon and to fight wars in Ukraine, that sort of thing.
So do you think the deep state is real, Doug?
Of course it's real.
Of course it's real. That's what I say.
Just like God's real. At least it's in your head. It's real in that sense.
All right, Jacob.
Oh my God.
Why?
No,
how have you possibly? How do you
Jacob
possibly
agrees.
deny? How do you possibly deny the role that the intelligence agencies have done so many fucked things for so long, and you would just run cover for them?
And also Occam's razor. You know Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is probably.
Yeah, it's my favorite after the Gillette Mach 3. I use Occam's when there's nothing else at hand.
Good one.
I think you should apply it more because remember this. What is it?
Watching my channel, learning.
The CIA is like
incompetent.
You know what? Like it just yes, but it's not.
Listen. I agree. Okay, let me give you an example. Did you see the Candace Owens Rabbi Shmuley debate?
No, I don't watch Nazis.
Yeah, no. That's fair. But Rabbi Shmuley in this case, he was on Piers Morgan, so it's okay. You can watch them in that context.
For blood sport, just enjoy it. Yeah, I can see that.
No, you should watch to know because Rabbi Shmuley is literally like I think he knows RFK Jr. He's got his arms and around politicians and stuff in pictures, so he is not just some psyop, which I thought he was at first because I couldn't believe it. He is utterly incompetent, and the debate with Candace Owens proved that, as if the proof of that was needed. So if you're telling me, are the people who I regard as being behind the scenes, deep state type people, the people who know each other and all that, are they incompetent? Absolutely. But they're still immoral. The Germans were incompetent in many ways in World War II. That doesn't excuse their immorality.
No, the argument is the deep state is so coordinated in that they can organize.
I've never said that.
Known as democracy.
I've never said the deep state is so coordinated.
No, popularly conceptualized.
Tucker Carlson's book is called Ship of Fools. And his whole claim is that it's a bunch of foolish establishment deep state people who don't know what they're doing, who are incompetent, and they're running things behind the scenes.
He says the politicians are the fools, but that the bureaucrats behind the scenes, they're not fools.
Wait, Tucker, hold on. You've read Tucker Carlson's book, Jacob?
I've not, but if you look at the cover art, who's on the ship?
If you look at the cover art,
it's a bunch of
the age-old truth. Always judge a book by its cover.
Of course. Tucker Carlson.
The deep state is clearly real.
Okay, to be clear to me, Jacob, define deep state.
The way it's been described is a deep state is, let's say, the real government that, forget all the elected officials, you have career bureaucrats who make their own autonomous decisions regardless of what the political leaders say, and do so, let me if I can finish, at the detriment of the United States and its national concerns.
Okay, so it's the people behind the scenes, not the people you see.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Okay. Do you think President Biden is running the country right now?
Oh, interesting question.
You do?
I don't think
that's interesting.
No.
You don't think? Hold on. You don't think Joe Biden is suffering significant cognitive impairment at this time?
No. Okay, listen. He's like 80 years old, right? And he's had a stutter. He's had a stutter his whole life. It just probably gets worse. Probably just gets worse by.
Did you watch the debate?
I did actually. Yeah,
he nailed it, didn't he?
Look, to posit that he has To posit that he has a mental condition is to say that the White House doctor lied when he said that President Biden has
That's perfectly possible. They
lie. Do you believe governments lie?
for national security is the only time I think they would lie, not about the president's health.
Oh my God.
I don't
How
think
about
it is.
exaggerate?
Any time they would never lie to cement their own political power. I'm sure there's no Republicans or Democrats who've ever been convicted of any corruption.
I would propose to you,
In the
Jacob.
modern day, no. In the modern
Like,
day,
it's a spectrum, right? I think, yeah, Biden does stuff, but I would say that over the last couple years, Biden's not running the country. He's a figurehead. The deep state,
no.
Jacob, the deep state.
I'll only accept that premise if you accept that Trump was in the same boat and that he was not running the country.
I do say that. But it's to a matter of degree. So I would say Trump does more than. But Trump is more of a narcissist and more of so he'll put more of his own thinking in it. But most people are under the impression that the president of the United States is actually controlling the executive branch. A good leader actually has other people do most of the work, and so if that's what you mean by deep state, the people behind the scenes,
that's the
they're
point.
still accountable to the president.
Exactly. As you can see, people can still be influenced by.
Hold on. Wait, hold on, Jacob. This is not a point for. First off, Doug, I want to rehash earlier. You were saying propaganda doesn't work. Someone pointed out a perfect example of how well propaganda works. Jacob, you're absolutely right. Joe Biden is perfectly fine, and there is no war.
I never said that.
There's no war in Boston. He's definitely not. You're right.
No evidence that he's senile.
There's no evidence that he's suffering cognitive
decline.
There's no evidence.
Don't trust your lying eyes, Jacob.
Jacob, I believe that you believe that. But the point about Trump and the deep state, certainly the intelligence agencies, while Trump was elected, were not fans of his, and there's internal strife with any organization. But surely this go around, the deep state's very anti-Trump because they're worried about this whole Project 2025 thing, which is explicitly set up to dismantle the deep state.
Well, I don't think so, because to dismantle, let's say, the FBI would take an act of Congress. So they wouldn't try to, let's say, keep Trump out of office. They would just talk to Congress and try to shoot it down there. There are other more.
I'd have to double check what their strategy is, but I think they can do a lot. They've got all kinds of legal things.
You're assuming that they're going to go for the most devilish strategy of trying to keep a president out of office instead of just doing what every person would do in their position, that is convince Congress why this would be a bad idea and stop the president from doing it. Which is legitimate, right? Like, you accept that's legitimate.
Jacob, what was the question?
Is that legitimate for, let's say, the CIA director to say, hey, Senate Arms Committee or Intelligence Committee, let's not defund us because we actually are necessary for American security?
Yeah, I don't think they would just walk in day one and go, you're all fired. And Vivek Ramaswamy, my absolute boy, specifically said that's not the case. There's plenty of agents on the ground doing good things. Jacob, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
If I can remember it.
Well, he's
go ahead, Doug.
He's trying to remember. See, this is what a good co-host does. Actually, you're my co-host. But what do you, for this upcoming election, are you a U.S. citizen?
I am, yeah.
This upcoming election, what are you most passionate about? What do you value? How are you choosing between the candidates?
I'm doing harm prevention, so strictly just preventing Trump from getting back in power is kind of my liberal initiative. I'm not a liberal. No. I'm a conservative, for the record. Like, I believe in certain.
Why do you have liberal on your goddamn bio?
Because I'm more confusing than I am. I'm not a straight line path. Like, I'm actually a centrist.
You know what?
But I actually have the
harm control. He said harm control. What's the harm?
Harm reduction. Yeah.
What's the harm that you're worried about?
Donald Trump could use the pardon power to either pardon those rioters on January 6th or pardon himself. I want to prevent that.
Okay. How does that affect you?
Yeah. Pardoning yourself would be a violation of our democratic norms.
Can I ask you a question? Which is worse, the California Democrat DAs and the New York DAs who don't prosecute like violent criminals and shoplifting, or the pardoning of the January 6ers? Which is worse for society?
That's a Malfoy question.
By far, the latter.
By far?
Yeah, because
Jacob, when is the last time you were robbed?
I've never been robbed before.
That sounds like exactly the answer I would expect from someone who's never encountered the negative side effects.
No, don't even.
Of a corrupt
this whole
society.
BLM, January 6th dichotomy is so messed up because, look, you can say whatever
I
you
agree.
want.
They're incomparable.
No, it's not for the same reason. You can rob a Target, and that's horrible, right? You should be prosecuted. But robbing the Capitol is so much worse, even if less property is damaged.
For who?
The country. I mean,
In what way?
Where were you? Where were you born, or where do you live? Just like give me a state.
I thought you were going to ask me where was I on January 6th. I was like, I'm not going to answer the
We
question.
know.
I was
You know,
there in the trenches.
Where was I born? I was born in one of the wealthiest suburbs of Chicago.
No,
At the
give me a
time
state.
ever.
Give me a state. State Illinois. State Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah,
Chicago's in Illinois,
Yeah, that's
Jacob.
Chicago.
I know. Oh, come on, don't do this, Dan. You're born in
Go ahead.
Illinois. What affects you more? A Target burning down in, let's say, Detroit, or the Capitol being ransacked? What affects your life more, probably? Be honest.
Both of them. I'm rich and privileged. I'm equally not affected by either of them.
Exactly. So it's not even about monetary damage. Your democracy, which is not based on your financial.
No, it's
status,
not about
is damaged.
me. It's about, if you ask me which produces more harm for more vulnerable people? A Target burning down in Detroit or the Capitol getting robbed? It's obviously a Target getting burned down in Detroit.
No, it's not, because here's the problem with that. Because you don't see the long-term effects of ransacking the Capitol. That's
You don't see the
normalized.
long-term effects of taking out the economic base of an already vulnerable community.
Yeah, look at Oakland.
Okay, I understand that. We had, the Rodney King riots, like that happened. January 6th is obviously worse than Rodney King, even though obviously more people
Okay.
died.
Okay.
How do you not? this is
Let's
quite
listen.
obvious.
You're entitled to your perspective, Jacob. This is why we bring people. We bring liberals on.
But
like you,
I want to
demonstrate
grill
to the world.
Jacob a little bit.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
ahead.
So Jacob, you would say January 6th was a very, very bad thing in American history?
Absolutely.
Okay. So in order for me to understand what bad means, I need a comparison. So compared to 9/11, would you say January 6th is worse?
And worse in what way? It's like damage or like
In any
death?
way you want to define
no.
worse.
Which one will hurt our country? Well, I don't know. Ask me in 2050, because we don't know the long-term effects of
Okay,
January.
but you-
I will say that's a good
Okay,
answer.
okay, but you
ahead.
said that January 6th it was very, very bad. Explain to me what bad means. What actually happened?
It's damaging. It normalized political violence on an extreme scale,
Okay,
which was
so
ransacking the Capitol.
so political violence. You're talking about the actual fighting.
Not even that. It's more or less people being gaslit by a lie and committing violence on that
It was
behalf.
bad because of gaslighting.
It's the whole process, not just the day itself. 'Cause
Be
you said it was
specific,
the
Jacob.
violence.
What when you say
No,
it
no,
was
no.
very, very bad? What are you referring to? What's this badness and
The 3
define?
months, the 3 months before January 6th and
Yeah.
the day included. That whole process of people being lied to about something that never happened, or no evidence at least.
People being lied
And-
to is
and then
what's the
taking-
really bad part.
Can I finish? And then taking action at the Capitol as a result and being violent about it in the most famous building on planet Earth. That whole sequence is bad.
Was it the fact that it's a famous building that made it bad?
A famous building? It's the Capitol. It,
Right.
It intimidated lawmakers were intimidated from doing.
See, but
their
the
job.
thing is, Paul and I, we value the little guy. Like we're of the people, and so when we see a Target and small business, well, Target's not small business, but like a privately held small business, to us is more valuable than the Capitol
How could you say that? Wait, like how?
because we care
On a
about the little guy.
utilitarian
The
basis-
Capitol
on a
is
utilitarian
publicly
basis-
funded. We can rebuild it.
Jacob.
It's not the
when-
building; it's
Jacob,
the idea.
Jacob,
it's
after
the heart
the
of democracy.
after the Capitol was ransacked, and it was ransacked, and it was all fucking. All those people are dumbasses, and
It was
should
looted.
not
No,
have
say it was looted. Was it looted?
looted,
Yeah, there
ransacked.
you go. So, it's,
So you're against looting.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, but see, after
Good.
that happened, the government continued, and what you said it normalized political violence. What right-wing political violence after January 6th occurred?
No. That's what I'm saying. The pardon. If you pardon them, you're saying that they do not have to serve their time in
I
jail.
see. Okay, so
That's-
just to be
that'd
clear, so
normalization.
you're saying that that January 6th plus the possibility that those people get pardoned is worse for more people than a whole street of small businesses being burned down and destroyed in the most vulnerable neighborhoods in
Wait,
in
I can
United
turn
States.
this around on you. I can say, well, those small businesses will be rebuilt. As you
Yeah,
said
but no,
about the
they aren't
Capitol.
though. That damage is okay.
First
Now
of all,
this
that's not true. We have
They don't have the
government businesses-
taxpayer money like the Capitol does.
yeah, this is now a straight up empirical matter of who can recover quicker. Poor black businesses that were burned down in already vulnerable areas, destroyed, versus the Capitol. And it's like if you think that there is not a
Why do you have to be so
fundamental
racist and bring black
No,
into it?
Paul, you're minimizing the issue.
I've been
and
watching a
I
lot
think
of
you understand this. Because,
progressive
again,
stuff.
you can take this so
I have a
far and
minor
say
in
like
gender studies. Go ahead.
you can say by attacking the Capitol, it's not even just the monetary damage or the physical damage; it's the reputational damage and how it hurts our image on the world stage. But that's very nebulous.
Okay,
You can't really
Jacob,
quantify
you
it.
mentioned the pardoning a couple times. Do you think it's Trump's plan to pardon everybody who was involved with January 6th?
He said he'll pardon people who are on January 6th.
Everyone?
There's a stipulation. He said those who did not, I guess, commit violence. However, even if you were there, you still should not be pardoned.
What if you were let in? What if you one of the people that the security opened the rope in and they let them?
Yeah. What about like a 55, 65-year-old grandmother who just following the crowd into the Capitol?
Or a 7-year-old grandmother like Doug's age.
I don't play identity politics. If you broke the law, you broke the law.
I like that answer. That's a good answer.
And also, like, if you're
lock her up, lock that granny up.
If you're 65 years old, you know that you should be going to the Capitol.
Listen,
Are you against?
If they committed violence.
Are you against the pardoning power of the president?
Yes, I think there should be an amendment, something like the story. I know that's not.
And same with governors.
I respect that.
I think governors is different because again, it's like national clemency versus like your state. There's like more localized tensions.
Okay, so you're okay with governors being above the law?
It's not about being the law. It's like, first of all, it's up to one man. Like, for example, Trump pardoning like Roger Stone. Like, I don't know how you can really explain that.
Didn't Clinton pardon a bunch of really weird people?
All right, hold on.
That's a very bad example. Exactly.
Jacob, this has been excellent. Always appreciate you coming on. It's great stuff. I do gotta move on to the next caller.
Right.
Thanks for coming on, Jacob.
Appreciate it.
I like your hat.
Thank you.
All right.
Because the fan was behind
Listen, I'm reading the private chat here, and I'm seeing who is the most aggressive, and it sounds like this Jin character. He says, the point is the fact that Trump supporters are so unwilling to give even a single inch of good faith.
Bring Jin on.
All right, Jin, are you prepared? Wait, hold on. Jin's camera is completely fucked. And it looks like he's been frozen in time.
Or Joseph.
All right, we'll let Jin on second.
Any females in here?
Joseph. Joseph, is that Joseph 7286? No one will get that reference. If you do, you're one of the real ones. All right, Joseph. Jin, you fix your camera. Joseph, we'll bring you on in 3, 2.
Oh,
him.
Hi.
Oh, is this
What's up, Doug?
Joseph's
a returning customer?
Yeah, he's returning. Right. Oh, careful. He's gay, so that might have some other meanings.
All right.
Yeah, I just want to get my SpongeBob shirt in here. There we go.
That's fair. All right. Well, Joseph, what is on your mind? What has Doug said that clearly is wrong at this point?
I think, well, we talked about it a little bit last time, Doug, but I don't like your opinions on the transes.
The transes?
Yeah, the transes.
That's the scientific name.
That's the plural word for trans.
He's part of the queer community. He can say it that way.
Yes, exactly.
You and I can't say transes.
No.
True. Well, he is white, though. So if you add up the queer minus
he's not
white,
white.
I'm not sure.
Joseph, are you white?
Basically Casper. I don't go to see the sun.
Yeah, so white.
You look Puerto Rican to me.
All right.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Doug, enough of this racism. All right.
I've got it.
It's really we're gonna get demonetized. I'll bill you after. I'll bill you for lost revenue on TOS breaking. Joseph, so what has Doug said about the trans people?
Yeah, what have I
that
said?
You disagree with?
Well, I did hear one of his chats where he was speaking with a trans person, and he kind of was presenting it as if it was a mental issue, which I didn't like.
You don't like the truth?
Well, a mental issue, is it being trans a mental issue? I would say is probably false, both via the science.
Well, it depends on what you mean by mental issue. I mean, there are many who would say that being a Trump supporter is a mental issue. And
depends what you mean by trans.
That I can agree with.
Well, that's all right. Fair enough. That makes things easier. Well, I don't know. I guess
that's right. Well, behaviorally, are you saying that people with gender dysphoria have mental issues?
Yeah.
That's a mental issue?
Yeah.
Well, here's a more practical question, Joseph. You got me thinking now because I'm going to interrogate Doug's transphobia. Doug, do you think that it should be illegal for adults to get gender reassignment surgery?
No.
Do you think that it should be considered a medical issue and should medical insurance pay for it?
Well, medical insurance is private, so it's none of my business. So yeah, they can do whatever they want.
Well,
but my taxpayer dollars. Like, if you're asking if Medicare should pay for it, Medicaid.
Hold on. Wait, you think it's a mental issue, right, Doug? It's a mental
dysphoria.
Illness.
Yes, it is. It's in the DSM.
Yeah. So if one of the cures for dysphoria, and surely you know adults who transitioned and are mentally better for it, by all appearances.
I don't know any.
You know of them.
Of them, yes.
Like Buck Angel, right?
Apparently,
Like
the science says so. Yeah.
but more like Buck Angel. Do you think you know Buck Angel, right?
Yeah, I know Buck Angel.
You think Buck Angel is saner than the average progressive, let's say?
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Okay, so we have reason. So if a doctor says, "Hey, this adult has gender dysphoria, and it would be in their best interest to get gender reassignment surgery,"
to me, the issue is kids.
And Medicare should but Medicare should pay for that, just like Medicare should pay for
Medicare. Well, Medicare can decide what it wants to pay for. There's a lot of procedures it won't pay for. So the question is it considered elective, or they're going to commit suicide if they don't get it? That's the issue.
Okay, but in theory, you'd be okay living in a world where your tax dollars pays for gender surgery.
No,
for
I'm
adults.
a small government conservative, so I'm on a lot of things. I'm not okay with the government spending my money.
Would you give up your Social Security out of principle? By the way,
no. I paid in a boatload of Social Security.
I know. My dad says the same thing. I'm a small.
And Social Security is a different.
My goddamn check. Okay,
but Social Security is a different type of tax than other taxes.
Actually, you're kind of the reason that society is completely fucked right now. These boomers like you are buying up all the property. You're holding up all the fucking.
It's pussies like you, Paul. That. Sorry.
That's fair. All right. Well, hey. So Joseph. So it seems like Doug is at least somewhat okay with his tax dollars going to gender resurgery, but children, I agree. Children, I think it's satanic and degenerate. That's what I say. That's my thing. I say is it's disgusting and degenerate.
I think Joseph agrees with us though.
For children,
I do a little bit.
Yeah.
I think when you're in, but I think in the 16-year-old spot, that's when I do believe in allowing kids to take beta blockers if they need them. But I don't believe in surgery before.
Did you ask your friends the question?
Unfortunately, I've been really busy at work, so it's only been about 2 weeks since we chatted
so
last.
Paul,
what did you?
So Joseph has his finger on the pulse of the trans community. He has a lot of trans friends. So I asked him to ask for me if there was a test, 99% reliable test that said, yes, you're trans, no, you're not. Like as reliable as a blood test for, I don't know, alcohol in the blood.
Sure.
And would they take that test? So you imagine a trans person living their life, having this belief that, let's say they're born in the wrong body. They take the test and turns out you're not trans. Like that's the risk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that wouldn't want to do it because I think deep down they know it's a social contagion. But here's the thing: it's not all social contagion. Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Listen, and I mean this, and everyone watching is about to walk away going, "Damn, that's a good point." Okay, watch this. Prepare. Okay. Doug, is diabetes natural or is it
type 1? Yes. Type 2 is nurture.
Oh, so you're saying that there's a thing called type 1 and type 2.
Yeah. So type 1 trans, type 2 trans?
Problem solved.
So how do you tell the difference between a type 1 trans and a type 2
Well,
trans?
that's more complicated, but surely we would agree. I'm sure everyone watching would agree. Well, of course, like there are clearly some people.
But that's the only question. Don't immunity case this like the Supreme Court. Give me like an actual breakdown.
What does that even mean?
Give me an actual breakdown of how you would determine the difference between a type 1
I'm not,
trans
hold on,
and
no,
type 2 trans.
No, before we get down, this is classic mismanagement of if you were a project manager, you'd be failed or you'd be fired. Okay, because you got to start with your plan and design phase before you build and deploy. So you first have to establish: do we agree that there is a type 1 and type 2 difference between people who are born with gender dysphoria and people who develop it as a result of social contagion?
Ask the question one more time. I can't.
Do you agree that there are two types of gender dysphoria? On the extremes, let's say. There's a spectrum perhaps, but on two extremes, there are people who were born with it ever since they were like 3, 4, persistent, consistent, insistent, I believe is the term. Mm-hmm. And then there are people who later on in life develop it, and usually alongside
feminine gay men who just kind of get coaxed into it to be in a woman.
Do you agree that those two poles exist? I'm not asking for proportions of how many are on each, but do you agree that those two poles do exist?
I could say yes.
Okay, so then that's what I mean by type 1 and type 2. Then the question is, how do we determine who fits in that? That's, admit, a much more difficult question. But if we acknowledge that there is a type 1, type 2, that makes our thinking much clearer.
But if they're adults, it's none of our business either way if they're type 1 or type 2.
Yeah, in some sense. Yeah.
The main issues that we're all agreed on is kids shouldn't get hormones, puberty blockers, or surgery.
Beautiful. Well, that's the ding, ding, ding. That's the
I
agreement bell.
I don't know if I agree with that.
The puberty
blockers, Joseph, you're free to be wrong.
I mean, I just don't.
As free as you are, Douglas.
I just look at it this way. What is the best known cure for gender dysphoria?
Conversion therapy.
For type 2 for type 2 gender dysphoria, I think it's addressing the underlying mental health condition. It's like, what is the best cure for? Oh, that's a good question. I should probably think of an example. So diabetes is not a good example because it's medical. The type 1, type 2 is good to illustrate it, but I need to come up with an example of what's a type 1, type 2 mental. Well, isn't hold on?
Who pretends to have a panic attack and someone who doesn't? One who does, who pretends to have a behavioral issue because of attention-seeking behavior.
Well, hold on. So like, and
real anxiety.
Doug would know this because he's on TikTok all day. Haven't the instances of Tourette's like gone up drastically ever since of like the onslaught of TikTok and all that?
Well, I think mental illness in general has gone up, and partly because of the shutdowns of COVID.
That's true. I think you can definitely induce mental illness. Some of it's genetic, but some of it's
right. So, do you think? Why don't you think anybody, like any therapist, any scientist, any biologist, really separates mental conditions by like type 1 schizophrenia and type 2 schizophrenia?
They do it all the time. I believe Ray Blanchard literally has a typology that's separate. But
I mean,
believe that happens all the time.
By type 1 and type 2, what I'm talking about is type 2 is faking being schizophrenic, and type 1 is being really schizophrenic. I don't see those. That terminology.
Schizophrenia might be a bad example. Hold on, but sorry, Joseph. We got to move on to the next caller just because you're too nice of a guy and there's too much agreement. But we do appreciate.
I mean, this is a pretty significant disagreement. You're making up a category specifically for like the trans community when you don't necessarily make that category up for any other behavioral disorder.
I would like depression would be a perfect example. Like there are people who have literal chemical imbalances that literally, even if their life was perfect, they would feel depressed and they need to take SSRIs. But then there are people who become depressed because their life is genuinely terrible. And and those two people, like, well, we need to give them both SSRIs. It's like, well, type 1s should be treated with SSRIs, but type 2, it's maybe like, hey, go figure out how to make some friends and not be lonely all day, and then you'll be less depressed. So
right, but why aren't there like any like anti depression groups out there where they're saying like you're not actually depressed? Like
I think that's the whole purpose of. I think a lot of clinical therapists operate under the belief that some people, their lives are just genuinely terrible and they just need help getting their lives together, and then they won't be depressed, which is different from the type 1s who need literal chemicals to balance it out. But Joseph, I gotta move on.
Sounds good.
Our absolute boy Jin has been chirping.
Doug's favorite gay. I like your title.
All right. Oh,
I'll be back later.
I thought it was Doug's favorite guy. Doug's favorite gay.
Gay.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
God, use the word.
He
identifies as a gay first, guy second.
All right. Thanks, Joseph. Bye now.
Bye.
Well, Doug, we've gone through some. I think we started with some casual anti-Semitism, then got into racism, now homophobia.
What are we missing?
Well, hey, Jin's Asian.
Jin.
Let's bring him on. Jin, coming on in 3, 2.
Ni
What's
hao.
What's up,
Ni hao. What?
Ni hao. Ni hao.
Oh, that's
hello.
Yeah. That's some language, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, Jin, who's behind you?
It's a hard. Oh, that's my girlfriend. She doesn't want to be a part of this.
That's your girlfriend.
Yeah, I know, right?
Listen. We're talking to you, Jin. We can't have two people on.
Is that a girlfriend or a mannequin? Because it. Oh no, it moves.
It moves. No, you. All right, don't. Jin, don't shoo her away. Hold on, Jin. She's not gonna be your girlfriend for long if you start shooing at her. Okay, trust me.
Jin, you're doing well for yourself. You got a real girlfriend. Excellent.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Jin, you also advice: don't go like this to your girlfriend ever. Don't go like this. Don't go. Because they don't like that.
I can tell you, Paul, I'm going to like this call. Like, Jin is cool. He's a man's man.
Now, I've been vaguely paying attention to the shit talking you've been doing in chat. So what's your thesis? If you got a platform, me and Doug are here. What do you want to say to our faces? One or the other or both?
He doesn't even know me, I bet. Say my name, Jin. Say my name.
Doug!
Go ahead, Jen.
It's Pinecreek to
Actually, I
you.
was about to say Heisenberg.
Jen, you're rapidly falling off right now. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of something that I actually disagree with.
Been watching for an hour.
Yeah, but like, what is it called? You don't.
Well,
really
let me
touch
ask
any,
him
like,
questions.
hot
Like,
topics.
Go ahead, Doug,
we're
fine.
professionals
Get you
here,
started,
right?
yeah.
Right, Paul? We don't need to rely on his brains to make this good. We can do
We
it
can work with any
ourselves.
material. Yeah, yeah.
So, Jen, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am.
Do you love your country?
It depends. Like,
Oh,
because like
found it.
I
found it in what 10
I
seconds?
grew up in China, right? So like, what is it? I was born in the U.S. I'm legally a U.S. citizen. Right?
So you're a
But, like,
communist.
I mean, what do you define as communist?
With Chinese characteristics, Doug.
No, what is it? It's not communism, okay? Like,
Right, it's-
Hey,
all
Jen,
that
it's
shit-
okay. Some of
all
my
that
best
shit
friends
is-
are communist.
Okay. I'll say this, okay?
Go
I'm a capitalist, like fundamentally, right? But like, I like a lot of the things that China does, okay? I 100% agree, okay? There's a
like a lot
whole
of it.
bunch of different issues, okay, that I have with China, okay? But like, I will still say whatever they're doing right now, okay?
Hey,
It's
Jen,
like
Jen, you don't have to say
pretty
okay
good.
each time.
Oh, my bad. It's a habit.
I know it's a habit. I know you're nervous. Just relax. If you have a beer in your fridge, go ahead and drink it now.
Have your girlfriend go bring you a beer.
Oh, he already has something there. Okay. Okay, so you're a U.S. citizen. Did you come on a student visa?
No.
Parents?
Wait. I was born here. My parents are not. Oh, well, they're naturalized now.
Okay, you're first generation American from China. Okay.
Yes.
What do you like about the United States?
I think I really like the Constitution. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
in terms of like the amendments, right? Because like one issue that you have in China, right, or just like a lot of other countries that like have constitutions but don't really enforce it is like, what's it called? I think when it comes to like free speech, right? So in Britain, you can get sued for like defamation for like pretty much like if you say something.
Jen, we're gonna agree on this.
Okay.
Right? Nobody hates the English more. Than
Okay,
Doug
so
and I,
what don't you like
hold on,
about the US?
hold on. Let me read. I want to read what Jin wrote that brought me on, or that gave him this.
Oh wait, fuck that! Like
Jin, here we go.
Ukraine is justified.
Well, hold on, Jin. This is what you said at 8:03 p.m. This is 17 minutes ago. The point is the fact that Trump supporters are so unwilling to give even a single inch of good faith. Doug, you Trump supporting scumbag. You are bad faith, according to Jin.
Jen, you want an inch? I'll give you 6.
Down. Okay.
Jin, why do you think Trump supporters are so bad faith? What do your Trump supporting friends say about this when you talk to them?
No, what is it like before this? I just had a conversation with my boss, and he's like a massive Trump supporter. And like I think my main issue with him is like
he's a shitty boss, not that he's a
No,
Trump
no,
supporter,
he's
so
a
you're
great
projecting
boss.
it out on everyone else.
No,
Okay.
he's a great boss, okay?
Fair enough.
He's insanely intelligent, but like he's also like a fundamental Christian that like believes the earth is flat and that like he's like he thinks like
Seriously?
Trump stole the election, right? Yeah, no, that's the insane thing, right?
How did
look
that
at it.
come up at work? You just said, "Hey, boss, what shape is the Earth?"
No, I'm just like really good friends with him, and he's currently in a lawsuit. I'm kind of like helping him out, and like he's a contractor, right? But he's so educated in law, he's basically a competent lawyer. And also he knows enough like astrophysics, physics to like basically like major in it in college. But the issue with it is like his logic is like so twisted that it needs like he feels
Doug.
so justified in it that like.
Okay, but logic
It's
about
because
what?
He's more intelligent. Wait. Sorry.
This brings us back to Trump because your main thing was about Trump.
Let me rephrase that. Okay, it connects. I promise. Okay, basically, like his logic, right? He's insanely good at reasoning, but the issue is he's so good at reasoning. He's managed to reason together He's managed to reason together something that's.
Jen, we need you to take a deep breath and focus now. What about your boss or what about Trump voters?
No,
what don't you like?
Okay,
like, just say it then.
They make like a crazy claim, like for example, Trump stole the election, right? And then
Trump stole the election?
Yeah.
The Democrats.
Sorry. The Democrats stole the election from Trump, right? And then they say, when you say like, no, where's the evidence, right? They put all the burden of evidence onto you, right? Even though the burden of evidence should be on them. And then whenever you present them with like actual studies or like any papers on this, right, they immediately call it out as like biased or fake news. So you can't use any like any like private publications, any like big news sources, that kind of stuff. Like if you try to cite statistics, they'll call it like biased and fake news.
No, we all know people like that in our lives. So I just want to clarify something, Jen. You're saying that your boss, very intelligent, very good logical, very strong reasoning skills.
Yeah.
But he's used his reasoning to create an intricate, sophisticated worldview that is, on the face of it, very logical, but completely wrong at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like,
do you work for Destiny?
No, wait. No. Yeah, he's literally just Mexican Andrew Tate. I don't really know how to describe it.
Oh, he's Mexican Andrew Tate.
Like,
okay, so Jen, I can help you with this, okay? I personally don't think the election was stolen, and I'm going to vote for Republican Trump. I lean right. But I understand the people who think that the election was, there's many words you can use, stolen, rigged, they have different meanings. One of them is that first time in history, a sitting president gets more votes than the first time and loses. COVID, the mail-in ballots, first time in history that was done. And so there's doubt in people's heads of whether this was legitimate or not. And it's actually very difficult to prove voter fraud on a mass scale. Very difficult. So it could be true, Jen. I'm not saying I believe this, but it could be entirely true that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. There's liberals and progressives screaming at their screen right now. But listen to me carefully. It could be true, and yet the evidence for it would not be sufficient to say it's true. In other words, you would have no justification for it.
Yeah, but that's true with all delusions.
Yeah, but that's like true, right? But like when it comes to like things like, the CIA like orchestrated like 9/11, right? Like, yeah, sure, there's like a motive. It could have happened, but like the issue is you're the one with the burden of proof. You can't force it onto others.
Right,
so,
I understand. But for example, it's still ongoing. From my understanding, in Georgia, there's lawsuits going on. What if it were true, Jen, that when these lawsuits, actually, it's not even a hypothetical. What if at the end of these lawsuits in Georgia, it comes out there was significant voter fraud in the tens of thousands?
Then
Can you imagine?
Like, I can't. But like, this is the thing. If it were to be true, okay, I'm going like, this is the thing. I think you should be like, I think people should assume, or at least like give the opponent or like whoever you like disagree with at least some ground of like decent faith, right? Or at least like be like some like this isn't towards you. This is like at least.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That they have the burden. They have to give you some evidence for it. But then there's also something called prior probability.
Yeah.
So the prior probability of, let's say, like, what's your intuition say? What percentage of the U.S. voting population cheats, commits voter fraud?
I don't know because I can't give you any.
Do you think it's 0?
There are no statistics.
1%.
If like complete guess, maybe like it really depends.
Let's go with 1.
Okay, sure, 1%. But like, I guess like my main issue is like we genuinely don't know.
Right,
like,
I know
because there is no ID.
This is why, but we do know on other fraud stuff. Like, guess what the fraud rate is for insurance fraud?
Oh wait! Maximus brought up a point that like, what is it? The cases got dropped.
All right, hold on. Listen, if we're in the chat, hold on, Jin. I'll let Doug give you a few more questions, but there's people ready to bitch at us.
Okay.
Yeah. So, insurance fraud. Guess what it is? What percentage of people commit insurance fraud?
What is it?
It's between 10 and 20%.
Okay.
It's amazingly high.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Which can show you just how rotten people can be. And so then the question then becomes, if people can commit that type of fraud, sure, they get a benefit from it, but so does voting. You can get a benefit from it as well, doing that type of fraud. Then the question becomes, is there more fraud on one side or the other? Or is it a washout? That's the next question. And then you can ask yourself, in the 2020 election, I'm giving you some reasons why your boss might not be as crazy as you think he is on this issue. And I still disagree with him. So the mail-in voting, I think we do know that it's a 2-to-1 ratio, that Democrats did mail-in voting twice as much as Republicans did.
Yeah.
So if we take any type of fraud percent number and we apply it to the mail-in voting, then you would say, well, then the fraud would tip towards the Democrats. I mean, in other words, the Democrats are doing the more of the fraud. And let's say it's only 1%, as Paul said. In places like Georgia and other states, that's enough to turn an election. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, wait. I guess like my argument against this is, couldn't the Republicans have done the same? Like, wouldn't there be like a motive that like a lot of Republicans?
No, that's what I just talked about. You know, you got to ask yourself the question: do they cheat at the same rate? Do Republicans cheat more? I actually like people who say Republicans cheat more than Democrats, because then it gets back to the voter ID thing. But anyhow,
I guess like
Paul, I really have to pee. I'll be right back. Can you do this on your own?
Yeah, I can do it on my own. Jin,
wait. Actually,
right,
just
go. You get one response, and then I can move on to the next caller.
Okay. What is it called? Oh fuck! I already forgot it. Damn, that's an ADHD moment. I should
listen.
Adderall.
When you're on a show as highly syndicated as Paul and Doug take on the world, the pressure's on, man. So listen, I have panic attacks all the time, usually on camera, and it's usually when I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm not really used to being on camera. This is
hey man, it's fine. Listen, well, hey. You and your girlfriend have a great time. I'll move on to the next caller.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate calling it.
Man.
All right, Jen. Godspeed. All right. First off, reminder, the only people we're bringing on are people with cameras on. That's number one. Okay. Now, who here has something to argue about with Doug and I? Raise your hand if you want to argue with Doug and I. Okay, hold on real quick. Spinoza, you've been sitting here for like an hour and a half. So maybe I'll give Spinoza a hop on while Doug is out pissing. Spinoza.
Hey, thanks.
No problem.
Actually, all right. I did want to say the first guy you brought on about not understanding budgets. I still think even though it's not the same, every country needs to live within its means eventually.
Sure. You talking about Bert from Australia?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just have a proposal for you here real quick.
Hit me.
Here's a proposal for a show that you guys get some people on the left and the right, and you propose, discuss, write, and then sponsor legislation so that the actual centrist positions are out there.
I'd like that. Who do you recommend? That's the question.
Well, Doug, JJ, seemed like you had a few callers that might work.
You know, I have thought about this, Spinoza. I've often asked myself, what am I doing? Who am I? And I wonder, you know, I am a bridge builder in many ways. I can talk to the likes of sick, disgusting scum like JJ McCullough, Andrew Wilson, Doug, and Destiny, and all that crew. And I wonder, perhaps my role should be to be like a Klaus Schwab of online politics and just pull the strings from the back and get everyone together and be like, yo, hey guys, honestly, if we wanted to make online politics real, we could just get together and go, all right, what's the thing that we all agree, like one policy that we all agree on? How about ranked choice voting? I think you get a lot of people like that.
Term
and then
limits, maybe I would think it'd be term limits.
Term limits, maybe. Ranked choice voting, something like that. But it's a good. I like what you're thinking, Spinoza.
All right. Just a suggestion. That's it.
I appreciate it.
All right. You have a great show.
Thank you, sir. Hey, thanks for sticking around this long. It's a good suggestion. I have thought about that before, and I will think about it now even more.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Godspeed, Spinoza.
Bye.
Doug, while were you gone, we had someone incredibly reasonable on.
Must have been Republican.
You know, you'd think. All right. Who, raise your hand if you want to bitch and argue. It's got to be a harsh argument.
Or maybe allow us to bitch at them.
Well, but I feel much more justified bitching at them if they start the bitching, you know?
Yeah.
This whole show is an exercise.
Just of them clicking on, though. I mean, they can consent.
That's fair. We play the victim. And then, all right, I see. Oh, hey, we do have a woman, actually. So we're going to get full diversity here. Yep. All right, I'm going to bring Corey on in 3, 2.
Corey sounds like a boy's name.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I.
Oh, sorry, Corey. I saw those muscles and I assumed.
Okay, well, I'm not showing off or anything. It's just very hot.
That's fair. There you go. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, anti-natalism.
What's on your mind, Corey?
Yeah, no, I was going through a notebook of mine, and I always wanted to find this. I restored Benatar's asymmetry. I think that was always a bad argument.
Who?
And I splayed out the presence of pain and the absence of pain, and the presence of pleasure and the absence of pleasure as their own categories. And
are we missing context? What are you talking about? What's going on?
Well, do you know who David Benatar is?
I know Pat Benatar. Hit me with your Benatar.
Oh, sorry.
I like that song.
David Benatar is the foremost anti-natalist.
Oh, you know what? I believe the one and only Jordan Peterson has talked about him. Yes, David Benatar.
Yeah, sorry, I got to turn YouTube off. Right, the sound on YouTube. Off.
Yeah. Okay, so is your position that we should not continue existence itself? It's immoral to bring new life into the world.
Well, my position is that we're reaching end times, and there is a for Christians there is a sort of prescription of not reproducing in that time, because Jesus said, "Woe unto those who are with child and give suck in those days." And
are you a Christian?
And so, yes, I'm a Christian. We've talked about Christianity before.
A real Christian or a cultural one?
No, real Christian.
Okay,
real
thank
Christian.
goodness.
I'm offended by that.
And I just think with the AI and stuff and everything, like you're like, I don't want my kids being torn up by the
I believe I said Terminator robot dogs. Yes,
Terminator robot dogs.
Do you have kids?
Well, I got a simple solution. No, I don't have any kids.
Okay.
No, that's
good.
Okay. So anyway, if you could see this, I try to make it bigger. Can you?
What she said?
No, you can't.
That's me. You're gonna have to.
Your lighting sucks. Yeah.
You're gonna have to give us the high level.
All right, I'll just tell you. So there's this matrix that.
Hey Corey, hang on a second. You're assuming we actually are interested in what you're about to say.
Well,
right?
Okay, that's true.
True. So why don't we start with?
I'm more for the consent argument anyway. Like if a guy was sleeping.
It's like we've had this conversation in a former life and we're not aware of it. Can I ask some basic questions of you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you are for going extinct because you think we're in end times?
Yes.
Okay, but if it's end times and you're a Christian and Jesus is going to return, then what does it matter being anti-natalist or not?
Well, because we could save people, because inevitably the children don't have much agency and they can't escape from certain circumstances and whatnot, and and there's the mark of the beast and all that.
So you're on a show with two atheists right now, right? You understand that?
Yeah. Excuse me, cultural Christian.
No, but you have to understand that
you just don't have a backbone to admit it.
I just think there's good arguments for anti-natalism, and I just want to.
Besides the Christian argument.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like there's no more command to be fruitful and multiply. I mean, look, the earth is full. We're full. We're at every corner of the earth.
Okay, but that's different than espousing extinction. You just want less people.
I'm not espousing extinction because there's going to be extinction anyway, I think. But
anti-natalist means no kids, right?
But I kind of just wanted to do this for the sake of argument,
That's fair. Yeah,
okay.
No, that's fair. Corey, I think I'm going to move on to the next caller just because anti-natalism is not where we want to go down right now. I appreciate
All right, that's cool. Okay, I'll fix this up. Okay, it'll be like
before you go, Corey. Before you go, when do you think the end times are coming so I can get ready?
Well, there's speculation 2028, but I think we haven't really had any.
Hang on a second.
Any no, because we need 7 years of tribulation, right?
We need them. It's character building.
No. So, yeah.
So, funny. Hey, no, Corey, appreciate
it. 2032, I guess. 2033.
Okay, 2028 to 2032.
And there's a significance of the number 33 and stuff like that.
Okay, I appreciate you calling in, Corey. We're going to move on to the next caller.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good one.
That was very compassionate of you, Paul.
I try to be. All right, who really wants to come on here and start fucking?
You want me to decide?
Can you see the?
Yeah, I can see the private chat.
No, the private chat. You can't see. I see. What you can't see is I have like imagine a clown car. I've got 12 cameras on all these goobers.
Do they all have are they all showing their faces?
They're all showing their faces right now.
Okay, is any of them female? from your pattern-seeking mammalian brain.
TJ, can I see do you have an Adam's apple? It looks like we have no females.
Okay, then take the best-looking one.
Actually, Jin's girlfriend is on camera still, so technically she's...
No, forget about Jin.
Okay.
Okay, then pick the best-looking one.
All right.
It's great for views. I wish I could see. I could help you. I mean,
I know.
For me, it's easy.
Listen,
I can pick the good-looking people. Like
it's normally it's normally a good bit, but I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I'm gonna flip so raise your hand if you really want to tear Doug and I a new one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I saw Maximus did this. He went like this.
Oh,
that was impressive. All right. So bring it on Maximus. All right. And then I see Sam Smith is bitching. We'll bring Sam Smith on next. Okay. All right. Maximus coming on. 3, 2. What's happening,
Hello.
Maximus?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Very nice. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We're kind of nervous.
But an 8.
The last
Nervous.
OmniLiberal. Do you run the Twitter account OmniLiberal? Because it is a
Oh no,
a
I'm
wild
not
account.
affiliated.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not affiliated.
All right.
Sorry about that. No confusion there.
No problem.
But anyways, I just wanted to talk about J6.
What?
J6, January 6th.
January 6th. Oh, are we abbreviating now?
I abbreviated it. I feel like people are mostly doing that now.
I know. I'm just kidding.
You got me.
Make J6 cool again.
Yeah, exactly, right? Anyways.
What's up, Maximus?
So, couple problems with what you guys were talking about earlier. One of the things that I didn't agree with was when you were bringing up Black Lives Matter, burning down the stores as a response to January 6th, what happened on January 6th.
Yeah,
right?
we were saying
I thought we were talking George Floyd. There was a lot of riots from that too.
That's what he's.
That's what we're talking
about.
He's referring
to. I was saying the damage from the Black Lives Matter riots far exceeded the damage from January 6th.
Surely, like physical damage. I obviously I can't disagree with you, but
economic damage
and lives lost,
and total suffering of humans.
But do you recognize that there is a difference between the large scale protests that had a variety of like different levels of peacefulness and
of course.
Yeah. So you recognize that, and you also recognize that there were a lot of people protesting, right?
Yeah, million. I think 15 million or something like that.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Crazy numbers, right?
Yep.
I got friends who.
But I think January 6th was specifically bad in the sense that it was a small group of people who coordinated exactly what would happen on the Capitol that day.
Whoa! Wait, how do you know that?
They coordinated?
Yeah, coordination.
Yeah, the Proud Boys.
Oh, that's not what the FBI said.
Well,
isn't that what they said? Isn't that why?
No, they said it was just like a handful at best people who had any type of plan or coordination.
Sure, it was a handful, but I mean, you guys were.
Wait, so was it the Proud Boys or not?
It was the Proud Boys were there, but there was also the people that Trump directed to go.
Do you know? I don't know if either of you know this. Didn't Nick Fuentes say go inside the Capitol?
Yeah.
I don't want to say specifically whether that happened. It might have. It might have happened.
Interesting. Sure, listen, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in federal, what is it called, false flags and all that. But
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so let me repeat back what you said, Maximus, to show that I'm listening. You said that in terms of property damage, January 6th doesn't compare to the BLM, right?
Yeah, property damage, sure, but damage to democracy, damage to what our country.
Let's talk about that. Damage to democracy on what was done. How was democracy damaged on what actually was done? Not what could have been, but what actually was done.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you that.
Okay.
One thing, or there's a couple things, but I'll start with one. One is that they delayed the certification of the vote for the first time in American history.
Right. Okay. By how many hours was it?
I'm not sure how many hours it was.
14.
Let me know. 14 hours, right?
Okay. So
that's never happened before, huh?
Okay. So something that's never happened before, delay of the certification 14 hours. Yeah. Bad, but not as bad as someone dying. Right?
Sure. I mean, yes, I agree. But there are things that are bad in meaningfully different ways that I don't think we need to rank them on the same scale.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. But when bad is such a subjective term, so let's stick on democracy.
Sure, I agree.
What, besides the delay of the vote for 14 hours, what else bad.
Are you? Well, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the electorate scheme.
The what?
Donald Trump's electorate scheme.
Oh yeah. The fake electors thing.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, do you guys dispute anything that happened in that's in the Jack Smith indictments, or do you guys think that any of those things didn't happen?
No, I don't dispute it, but the question is, I'm asking you, how has that hurt our democracy?
Well, I'm gonna get to it. I'm leading
Okay.
there, so I'm just making sure that you guys don't dispute anything in the Jack Smith indictments.
I haven't read them, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the sake of argument, like I was saying, I haven't read all of it. I know some of it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I won't hold you on that. But I mean, it would be pretty important if you're ever going to talk about Donald Trump, because that is like one of the biggest things to happen in the country in a very long time.
I'm trying to not talk about him so much. I'm trying to talk more about philosophy and memes, which is my expertise.
But Maximus, let's stay focused. How has it hurt our democracy?
Yes,
what
right.
actually happened?
Okay. So essentially, two things that I don't like. One is that Donald Trump, assuming all those things happened, he would be an oath breaker, right? Do you agree?
An oath breaker.
Yes, he
That's
took
only
office and then broke his oath.
What oath did he break?
The 14th. What does the 14th Amendment say? It says that no oath breaker shall
be an insurrectionist.
Shall take office. Yeah, it was the insurrectionist. Like he can't
see where,
because he tried to circumvent the peaceful power of peace.
Okay, what if the election was stolen?
Well, didn't he open a bunch of court cases for that?
So at that moment,
yeah,
January 6th,
yep.
if he truly believed that democracy had been scuttled,
yeah,
then wasn't his actions noble?
Do you think that he truly believed that that's what happened?
I actually think he flip-flopped on it, but I think that at that moment, yeah, he did. I think he's a narcissist, and he didn't listen to other people. He truly believed it.
Shall we get into the details on that then?
Well, remember, the question is, how has it actually hurt our democracy?
Well, so I
don't want to talk about the future. I want to talk about how it actually hurt our democracy.
Well, I'm not, but there's insurrectionists on the ballot.
See, you want to talk about the future, though, right?
It's kind of happening right now. You know, you've got half of the Republican or half of the country completely divided. You've got MAGA Republicans who are a cult-like followers.
I understand. We can talk about that. We can talk about the future.
But that's damaging to our democracy, that there's so many people who support an insurrection. Would you disagree?
In what way?
In what way? What? That it's damaging to our democracy?
Like Black Lives Matter riots. I know what the harm is. People die. They lose economic opportunity. They remain in poverty. Okay, so it's very clear to me.
Yeah.
What is the material harm of people wanting to vote for who you regard and perhaps is an insurrectionist?
We're moving to the future, but I just want to seal off the past.
Okay, go ahead.
What actually happened in January 6th, in terms of democracy, is there's only one thing I see. The vote was delayed by 14. The certification was delayed by 14 hours. That's what actually happened. Trump still left.
Okay.
Biden still came in. We still get to vote.
He left. Yeah. Okay, that's true.
Okay, so now let's talk about the future.
Wait, but hold on. I still want to talk about those events because there's a lot of stuff that happened in between. So Donald Trump did leave office, right? But only after he did the entire electorate scheme, and then he sat in the White House for 3 hours drinking Diet Coke while lawmakers walked in. His son walked in. They begged him, please call off the protesters.
That's such an oddly specific detail that you're aware
drinking Diet Coke.
That's fair. Hey, okay, hold on. And
that's what's in the J6.
I just want to say I just did a 2-hour stream on this specific issue with Stitch and Rob Knorr 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So for the sake of, I think I might have saw you chirping in there. I don't want to get into the details of the fake elector scheme. Let's assume that we agree that he did all those bad things.
Okay.
I want to understand the material harm to Americans.
I'll tell you.
Will occur if Donald Trump, an insurrectionist, is elected.
That will occur. I think it's already happened. So we
okay,
can talk about what will come, but let's talk about what happened already.
What is the harm? And let me just specify. What is the harm that Trump will do by virtue of him being an insurrectionist that he couldn't just do by being a bad president? Like if he has bad economic policy, that doesn't have anything to do with him. Any president could have bad economic policy.
Well, hasn't Donald Trump said that he wants to suspend the Constitution?
I don't know, Doug. You're my conservative fact checker.
He said that.
Also,
he implied that, like, similar to
hold
martial
on.
law.
I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, you need it. Maximus needs to turn his volume down.
Oh, I have headphones on, so I'm not.
Hello.
But hang
hello?
on, you got two
Hold on.
headphones. He has two headphones. Maybe the second.
Yeah, Maximus, when I take you off, the echo goes away. So it is from you.
It's from his side. I think the other headphones are also playing the audio.
They're not. They're
They're not?
completely off. Yeah. I'm not sure what that is.
Check
if
1,
you want,
2.
I can just take off these headphones and.
It's not too bad. I can live with it. But okay, so what you were talking about. Let's assume everything that you can talk about January 6th is all true and all good. The question still remains: what's the badness that's going to happen if Trump wins? Let's say.
So the bad part about Trump winning and the material damage to our current democracy is that
to individuals. To individuals.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So I mean, then, wait. You mean that the harm to individuals? Do you not think it's harmful? What can we not say it's harmful to the entire country? So it's also harmful to individuals.
Well, tell me if it is harmful to democracy. I want you to break it down and say, okay.
Why is it bad if Trump wins?
Yeah.
It's bad because people elect an oath breaker.
Okay.
Right?
Why is it bad to elect an oath breaker?
Because he doesn't stand for any of the morals that the United States was founded upon.
Okay, why is it bad to not stand for any of the morals the United States founded upon?
Because then you drift away from what the core values of our system, like the Constitution.
What is bad about drifting away from the core values of our system?
I mean, I guess you end up breaking laws and
which laws?
The electorate scheme. What was the law?
You see what I have to deal with, Paul?
Conspiracy.
Doug, you are you stared into the abyss and you became what you sought to destroy, which is a presuppositionalist.
No, when you unpeel that onion,
as it is, no, it's good. And as I'm watching you, and I'm like, I should start asking people more questions because sometimes,
like people have these assumptions in their head that this is bad, but when you unpeel the onion, they can't answer it. Yeah, what do you expect to happen, Maximus?
Hold on, but there is because I complain about this, Doug. I call people autistic all the time for this reason. Like when you say, well, why is it bad to deviate from the morals of this country? To me, there's a self-evident aspect to that of like, well, you elect if someone is immoral, they do immoral things.
Right.
The better
but what?
That's so Maximus. That's why I'm framing it this way. Is what, like I said, the reason I believe as of right now, and I'm willing to have my mind changed, and I do mean this, even though people will doubt it, that's fine. The reason I believe that the Black Lives Matter riots were more harmful than January 6th is because I can clearly see the material harm that occurred. And I don't mean like material just damage. I mean like lives were ruined, literally people died, economic resources destroyed in areas where they needed it most. So I can see that clearly. So in order to convince me that January 6th was as bad, paint me the picture, or not that it was as bad, but in order to convince me that Donald Trump is going to cause a worse level of harm than that, you need to explain to me in fairly clear terms what is the material harm that would come to what people in the United States if Trump is elected.
I mean, I understand your question, but I have to admit that it's a difficult one to respond to.
That's fair.
I can help you.
Well, no, I would rather just go in a different direction instead of that. If you'll have it.
Well, you want a completely different direction or just
no, just like a
because I personally don't want to hear you whine and complain about what happened on January 6th. What I want to know is Paul. I've made up my mind, I think, on who I'm voting for, but Paul is a little more wishy-washy. He's vulnerable. Like I
am. Trump kisses the Zionist boot, and I'm not a fan of that.
So explain to Paul, like for example, I can ask very specific questions like, do you believe if Trump wins that in 5 years he will still be in office?
I have to admit that's a very hard question. I can't say specifically what's going to happen in 5 years. I know.
I'm asking you to guess.
Guess? I mean, if I had,
he's an insurrectionist, right?
Well, he is an insurrectionist.
So you would think that he would want to stay in power for as long as possible, right?
Yeah. I mean, what if JD Vance runs and then he gets elected and then appoints Trump as his vice president? And
okay. So you don't think Trump will be a dictator and stay in power?
I'm just gonna say it's possible. I'm not going to.
Anything's possible in the magical kingdom. What probability do you put on it that Trump will be in power 5 years after he's elected?
To be totally honest with you, just based off of the rhetoric that he said, if you want a percentage, I would say probably 30%.
30%. Okay, I say 0.00003%.
That's fine, but he's already committed something that's also pretty bad, like delaying this.
Okay, so let's say he does. Let's say your 30% happens. Do you think he's going to round up Jews and kill them, or round up black people and kill them?
I can't say. I don't think he'll do that, but I can't say for sure what he will do. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, I'll say, Maximus, the best angle, and look, it's not. I mean, illegal immigration is a problem, and I could see a backlash to it. Like the argument that if Trump got into power, it would be very bad for illegal immigrants in a way that is immoral and not just, oh, well, they're, bad for them in a self-interest perspective. That is not so far removed from reality that I wouldn't find it convincing. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Sure.
And it's also like, especially when people frame it in terms of race, like, well, Trump hates Mexicans. It's like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure he's polling at like 40 or 50% with Hispanics, and I guess not all Hispanics are Mexican, but like it's not very convincing. That's the question I'm asking of, like, what's the material harm?
Let me tell you then.
I'll give you, and then I want to give you you can respond, but then I got to move on to the next caller here.
Sounds good. So I would say that the material harm has already happened. We don't need to speculate on what might happen in the future yet, because right now we can look at what specifically happened on January 6th. And if you don't dispute that anything in the Jack Smith indictments is, then that means you agree with that means that you should agree with the 14th Amendment, right? I mean, unless you guys think that
Maximus, this whole discussion, the reason why Jack Smith did not indict Trump on insurrection is very telling. The reason he did not indict Trump on insurrection is because it's very difficult to prove what's going inside the mind of a human being. If Trump truly, truly believed that the election was rigged or stolen, and he thought that democracy had failed because of cheating, then what he did was noble and right. And this is why Jack Smith did not indict Trump for insurrection. It's so hard to prove.
Okay. I disagree. I think that, I do disagree that it's hard to prove, right? Insurrection is a difficult crime to prove. But that's just because it's difficult to secure a conviction in many ways. When you look at the Jack Smith indictments and the J6 report, you have White House lawyers telling Trump that there's no election fraud. You had
we know all this.
So then do you think that somebody in their right mind could listen to every single prominent person, lawmakers, his own people that were in the White House, and say reasonably?
Like I said, I think Trump flip-flopped on it.
I think that it's still go against what they say.
Listen, we're not going to make headway on this just because it's so. No. We got to be looking at details and stuff. I appreciate you coming on, Maximus. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Maximus thinks that we're missing information, Paul. If only we knew what he knew, we would agree with him.
We are. Well, he knew what Donald Trump was drinking Diet Coke. Now, although to be honest, I don't know jack shit about all this, which is why I bring on other people who know more. I rely quite heavily on my heuristics, and knowing what the actual indictments were, it would certainly buttress one's arguments. Okay, hold on. And by the way, what's your time frame, Doug?
Wow, these 2 hours have flown by.
I know.
I'm having fun still.
Okay.
But I would rather, let's bring someone on with a new topic.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Okay, all right, hold on. Sam Smith has been bitching. All right, he's been screaming, jumping up and down. And we're going to give him a chance. All right, Sam? All right, we'll bring him on. 3, 2. What's up, Sam?
Gentlemen.
Hey.
Hi.
You kind of look like the shooter who attempted to kill Donald Trump.
Hey, bro.
You do. I'm not saying you would ever do something like that. I'm just saying you look like the shooter.
There's no one who hates assassination people more than me.
So. I like Sam already. All right, Sam, what is on your mind? What is Doug or I so wrong about?
Well, it's a different topic. I don't necessarily, Doug, I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with you. I'm only recently familiar with Paul.
That's right. Doug is an orbiter of mine. He hangs around here and there, although I believe he has more current live stream viewers than I do. That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
I got 96. What do you have?
He's probably got like 30 at this point.
Quiet. Man. Shut up. What's your fucking question, Sam Smith?
Listen, I found you recently because of your conversation with Destiny.
Who?
But
Destiny?
I don't want you mind reading me, okay? But I really like your content. Everything is great. Watch the conversation with Adam and Sitch, and Rob yesterday too. It was interesting. I appreciated you shutting down the drama also.
I did not appreciate that.
I was going to say Doug hated that probably, but I knew wise guys like Sam would. All right, well, thanks. This is great so far.
Yeah, well, here's where I think you're wrong. I don't know necessarily how, Doug, I don't know if you talk about philosophy or whatever, but
I love philosophy.
That's
okay, great.
Doug got
Maybe
famous
you guys
off
will bring me a new one, because I don't know if you're going to agree with Paul on this or not, but...
I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
Word. I should have picked up on that probably, actually.
No, it's impossible.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Paul's viewers are autistic. That's fine.
Dude, I'm not.
Only the ones that disagree
That's
with me.
one of the reasons I like.
Is that why you said at the beginning, don't mind read me?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Look at this effect I have on people. Just
I can tell. Yeah, whatever.
Go ahead, Sam. What is your question?
I was listening to. I don't know how long ago it happened, but I've just been kind of binging your videos. I have a lot of free time audio-wise when I'm at work. So I was listening to the conversation you had with, what's his name, Andrew Wilson?
Yes. Oh. Doug, by the way, the only person that's beat Andrew Wilson in debate besides me is Pinecreek Doug. Yep.
Way to go. Okay, so here's the deal. The whole transjective truth as a tool, blah, 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 that whole idea, the Jordan Peterson thing.
You're not going to get it, Doug. I'll explain to you later. Go ahead, Sam.
Thanks.
Basically, you guys were arguing about he thinks that Plan B pills should be illegal. And I don't necessarily I don't want to talk about that exactly, but you guys got into this hypothetical that is used frequently about, like, there's a dying baby, or there's a building that's burning down, there's a baby in one room, there's 100 cryogenically frozen embryos in a different room. Which one do you save?
Yep, the baby.
Your behavior is the morality. I think that saying the baby, while emotionally that might be like true for you as like on an individual basis, not you specifically, but rhetorically you.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of problems with that hypothetical. Like, to me, the hypothetical just actually doesn't make sense and isn't applicable as far as like testing the morality. Because the point of the hypothetical,
do you love Jesus?
Argument that you're drawing,
quiet, Doug, shut up. Go ahead.
The argument that you're drawing is you're not, because you have this transjective truth and it's a tool and it's not objective and it's not entirely subjective postmodernism bullshit. Your point is that drawing the line of it's a human life at conception, while it's logically consistent, doesn't mean that it's actually the truest assessment of an embryo or whatever. I think that I hear your point, but I just think that that isn't a good argument. The hypothetical doesn't demonstrate that argument because of a variety of issues. And maybe it just comes down
to... Well, you've been talking for 2 minutes, so why don't you hit me with one of them? Go ahead.
Okay, here's the deal.
There you go,
I think that biology limits... We're emotional beings driven by biology that's adapted to a certain environment.
Yes, Doug is a particularly emotional being.
If you have... What did you say?
I said Doug is a particularly emotional being. That's why
he's defending me, not you.
Yeah.
Listen...
It goes all around on this show.
If we were in a world, like a hypothetical world in the future or whatever, where you have perfect technology and 100 frozen embryos were literally equivalent to a baby but delayed 9 months, I think that's an intuitive framework that is difficult to put yourself into.
Yes, agreed.
First of all,
hypotheticals can be tough.
That, I think, and Jordan Peterson actually talks about this at some point too. He talks about the moral actions are more compelling based on proximity to you. I can't remember where exactly I talked about this.
Okay. You love your own kids more than some other kid in Africa.
Idea of, let's say there's you have $10. It's your last $10.
All right, hold on. Oh, you're doing a lot of exposition. So get to the statement of disagreement. I think you're wrong because.
I think you're wrong because. I think that life does begin at conception, and I think the hypothetical of
that's interesting.
Baby,
hold on. You believe? Okay, yes, fair enough. So I have my.
I'm an expert in this.
I was gonna say, Doug, what? I don't think you're one of them cringe pro-lifers. I think you are okay with abortion up until 14 weeks, right?
Okay, Sam Smith. I'm an atheist. I'm a naturalist. I agree. Life begins at conception. I agree that's human DNA. But I also agree that it's not so bad to throw an embryo down a sink.
Sam, the floor is yours.
I think that's just wrong for a variety of, or not a variety of reasons, but primarily just because I think that human life is something that, not in a religious sense, but the sanctity of human life.
What is this sanctity you speak of?
it is the essence of propagation of the human race.
Okay, but our human race is still propagating.
Right, but the idea would be, is it optimally moving forward? Or are you causing damage that is mitigated by modern technology?
I will concede that throwing an embryo down the sink is bad. That is in fact, you're throwing human life down a sink. I'm conceding that, but I'm making this point. It's not that bad.
Okay, not that bad in the sense of it shouldn't be illegal, or it's not that bad like
shouldn't be illegal.
Drinking one beer and driving isn't that bad. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's a good example.
That actually is not that bad.
Yeah, drinking one beer and driving is not that bad, especially if you're a 200-pound male and can metabolize alcohol at a fast level.
And you can drive.
Those are on the same tier. Why? So my question to you would be like, to me intuitively, having one beer and being under 108 and driving isn't that bad. Is like categorically just on a different level.
What, worse or better?
An embryo, a fertilized egg.
Worse or better?
Driving under the legal limit is much better. Sorry, it's a much less bad moral action.
Okay.
Eliminating a fertilized
let me
egg
explain
is
to you
much
why.
more morally condemnable act, in my opinion.
Like when you look at an embryo, my wife and I have gone through in vitro fertilization, so I've actually seen embryos.
Your wife?
Yeah.
I thought you were. Weren't you talking to that one Joseph guy? I thought you were.
I'm closeted, Paul. Sorry. Didn't we talk about this before the show started?
Right, hold on. Yeah, hold on one second. Sorry, hold on. Listen. We'll go offline for a second. Doug, I'm very sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to.
I made it clear to you that you don't talk about two things: my closeted gayness.
I can edit this out.
And that, and that I say the N-word more offline than on.
That's fine. Doug, I'll send you my.
That's a glorious.
I'll send you my last Xbox live stream I did.
Glorious.
Anyway,
bring him back. Bring it.
Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, Sam. We had to go offline for a moment.
Yeah,
I understand.
Okay, so Sam Smith. So I've looked into the eyes of a petri dish, and I've seen embryos, and guess what? They don't smile back at me. But a baby, when you look in their eyes, I've had two babies. Okay.
Right. So this is another issue I have with the. Well, sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that when you look at a baby and you go coochie coochie, and it smiles at you, clearly these are two different things. A baby smiling at you, interacting with you, and an embryo in a dish. Same. And I'm consistent. Same with old people who are comatose. Like I'm okay with throwing them down the sink too.
People and fertilized eggs are entirely different as well, though. There's a variety of differences between those. My thing would be, definitely a baby that has come to term and is breathing on its own, and its heart's beating, and its brain is developing, and it's learning, and it's experiencing the world is a different thing than a fertilized egg. That's a zygote. That's a single cell. But I don't think they're different in a way that impacts the moral consideration of the being that is there.
Can I save everyone some time here? Sam, are you Christian?
I am Christian.
Yeah.
Okay,
see,
so
I asked that like
Christian
15 minutes ago. Do you love
Okay.
Jesus? And you told me to shut up.
I didn't hear you.
Well,
that
would
but
okay.
But here's
Doug,
my question. Here's the last thing. Regardless
poorly.
of the fate, here's my question to you then. Do you not think that the way that a baby appears more cute to you, in the same way, like a baby is cuter than like a baby dog?
Yeah.
And in the same way, the hypothetical that I was going earlier.
I've seen some cute dogs.
Okay, a baby human versus a baby snake, or a baby human versus a baby rat.
How about a cockroach?
Okay.
Baby rats are cute as fuck. What are you talking about? Go ahead, cockroach.
Whatever, baby cockroach. Whatever. Pick the least cute baby thing that's not a human.
You got a baby picture yourself, Doug? We can put that on the screen. Use that as our poll.
You see the abuse I have to
Go
deal
ahead,
with, Sam?
Sam.
As a Christian, at least I can count on you to have love and empathy on me.
I'll just tell you, because the reason you appreciate my videos, because I'm already a few years ahead of you. I know where you're going to go. Whatever argument you're going to make is going to depend on you making a faith claim to your Christianity. So you can try to make some argument that you allegedly can exist without Christianity.
Here's my point: is that I think that the transjective truth, just tell me your response to this hypothetical, and it'll probably help me understand.
Okay.
So it's your last $10. You're walking down the street. There's a homeless person who's starving.
Yeah.
And I could use this $10 to feed this homeless person a single meal.
Yeah.
Or I could use this $10 to donate to a charity that would feed a starving African child for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
The math works out to be. You're more emotionally compelled to pay for the homeless person's meal. I feel like I would be in that moment.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't think that that's necessarily the more morally noble thing to do.
I would agree. It's not. Oh no, sorry. No, it is.
We're not talking about when you think about it and you logic brain and you propositional logic your way to saying that the embryo should be saved. We're saying, like, what do you feel compelled to act on in that moment?
Sam, it's basic Kantian categorical imperative here. Everyone should care more about their problems in their local vicinity than problems in faraway vicinities. Because if everyone cared about everyone else's problems in faraway vicinities, you'd become overwhelmed and your capacity to care would be eliminated, and then you would do nothing. So you're better off doing something small in your local area than trying to do something big for a very faraway abstract cause. We're wired that way. Evolution selected us for that mechanism to be in place.
So does that same principle hold over temporal distances? Like if you had 1 baby versus 100 babies that were not going to be able to be alive for 9 months or whatever, like the temporal.
Okay, I'm sorry, you were making fun of my hypothetical beginning. I don't even know what.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, we're not going to make Sam. We're not going to make much headway on this issue.
Sam.
Go ahead, Doug.
I think you're well intentioned, and I actually appreciate you're trying to leave your faith out of it in order to make an argument. But
it's not possible.
But can you answer your own hypothetical? Would you give the $10 to the man on the street or to the child starving?
I think I would feel compelled to give the $10 to the man on the street. Yeah. But I don't think that.
You realize you are kind of agreeing with our argument then that you would save the child in a burning building rather than the embryos then.
Right. I'm not saying that I wouldn't feel emotionally compelled to that. My argument is more so that biology is limiting the perspective.
So the point you're making that even though you know it's immoral, you would do the less moral thing anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
So you know cognitively that you would be doing more good for the starving African than for the homeless person.
Yeah, for humanity.
But you're saying even with that knowledge, you would still give to the
even
homeless
with
guy.
that knowledge in my brain, emotionally, I would be compelled to help the person in front of me.
Okay,
I can say with absolute certainty. Hold on, real quick. I just want to say, and then Doug, you can say. But Sam, you are not autistic. Congratulations.
If Jesus came down to earth and there was no doubt it was Jesus in your mind, Sam, if, and he told you it's okay to throw embryos down the sink, I'm totally okay with it as God. What would you do with your non-faith arguments?
To be honest, that would be a surprising revelation from God, and I would probably have to spend a lot of time.
That's a good answer. If Jesus
own.
came down, what would you do with your arguments? I'd go, this is probably not the most important issue at hand.
See, no, my theory, Sam, is you would change your arguments. You would say, oh, maybe my arguments weren't that good after all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I mean,
Sam, I gotta. Sam, this is
I hear what you're saying,
and it's fair enough. This is to go straight for the hardcore philosophical issue. We rarely make headway on those issues on stream. Sometimes we do.
Usually
without
10 minutes.
And Sam, some babies deserve to die, Sam. That's just the hard truth.
Adolf Hitler.
Can you give me an example?
Paul just did.
Did you say baby Hitler or something?
Yeah.
Baby Hitler. Yeah. I don't think Doug actually believes that. And I don't believe baby Hitler. I don't believe any baby should be killed.
So you don't have an example then? A serious one?
No,
what did you say there at the end? You say some babies deserve to be killed? Is that what you said?
You said they deserve to die. It's a little different.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that on Doug? Or?
Well, when I said babies, I'm using the Christian, like a lot of Christians say that embryos are still babies.
Embryos.
Yeah.
I see. And technically God did order the slaughter
Wait,
of
that's
many
still,
women and
I'm
children.
having a hard time thinking of a reason.
That's fine. Sam, I suggest you watch more Jordan Peterson and you will be much more well equipped to defeat Doug.
Crime rates plummeted when abortion was introduced in the 70s. There. No, get him off before you're going to respond.
Right. You're going to get us canceled. That's okay. Godspeed, Sam. Peace.
Actually, crime rates plummeted 18 years after abortion was. Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Don't bring up statistics on the stream. Okay. I see Marion beating his chest like a gorilla.
There's still no females? What's wrong with you women? Get in here.
Have you seen the videos I make? They're League of Legends.
But you got hair. You would think they would want to come in just for the hair.
That's true.
You could talk about hair products. I'm sure your bathroom's full of them.
I've had it. He's not wrong, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Marion, coming out in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I can hear you.
Your voice does not match your face.
Thanks, I guess. I don't know.
Doug is a master of poisoning the well.
Yeah.
I got him to smile. It's fine.
Go ahead, Marion.
Okay, I'm going to start off by accusing you of being a cuck.
Who, me or Doug?
Yes, you.
Okay.
You, Paul, because you don't like Trump enough, and you only recently started liking Trump a little. Okay, and I want to know a few reasons.
Why does that make me a cuck?
I don't know. That was just a setup. Ignore that.
Ignore it. Just ignored. Okay.
I'm going to come in and offend you, and
so
then just ignore
like
it.
Narcissism, you said? He's like too narcissistic, right?
Trump,
And
Trump
Zionist
he's dumb. He makes a lot of mistakes that could easily be avoided.
Okay. Well, damn. I had like 2 setups for like narcissism and the Zionist thing, so I'm just gonna go with those.
Well, let's go with that. He does kiss the Zionist boot.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I have a question then.
That's fine.
So is the way we move against the Zionist bootlicking by calling the last big oopsie that this one Austrian guy did exactly what it is, which is a pretty big oopsie, but just a big oopsie.
What?
Okay, damn.
This
So
this sounds like crypto poetry.
Yeah,
in plain English, please.
And move a little bit that way.
Plain English.
Yeah, you gotta align.
Center yourself.
So the plain English version is.
Yeah.
Do we try to? So we have to fight against Zionist bootlicking, right? Which is like what we're trying.
We should fight against bootlicking in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was focusing on the Zioning part. It's like.
That's fine. That's one boot we should stop licking. So let's focus on
Yeah.
that. One boot at a time.
Do we do that by approaching the topic that is incredibly hard to approach and trying to brand that in a potentially different light, or is that too much?
Well, what topic are you talking about in particular?
Well, Nazism and Hitler and stuff.
What about him? What you talking about? Like, are you talking about the Tucker Carlson interview? That
No,
happened?
I'm not that versed in American politics. I'm German, so.
Okay.
A German bringing up Nazism. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
listen.
I need to see where this goes.
I need to see where it goes. Well, let's see.
No, it doesn't.
By the way, Marlon, nobody loves the Jews more than I do.
Well,
I mean,
well,
the Germans.
Nobody loves Jews more than I do.
Oh, okay.
Man, I'm getting a sense you're doing what's called hiding your power level. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I think so. Well,
very plainly ask me.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Very plainly ask me what you think we should do to stop kissing the quote Zionist boot. Because what I think we should stop doing is I think we should just tell Israel, hey, get the settlers out of the West Bank or we will shut off all military aid. And if they do get the settlers out of the West Bank, we'll say, great, keep your F-16s and use them as you will.
Yeah, sounds like a fine idea to me.
Listen, I think we'd be done kissing the boot at that point.
Okay. Well,
what's your idea?
Well, the idea is basically to everything, like even the idea of pointing Nazism in a somewhat positive light is like really, really sensitive and difficult, right?
Yes, that's absolutely true. I would agree with that statement.
If we're like trying to find ways to move against Zionist bootlicking, like moving in that direction, you know what kind of response that gets, right? So that's kind of just looking for tools to achieve a goal, right? So my question is basically, is it time to consider that option very slowly, very carefully? Or is that still a bird move?
What do you mean consider the option? So like, for example, we talked earlier, Tucker Carlson had an interview with a historian who said, yeah, the story around World War II is greatly mythologized in American history. We say Churchill was definitely the good guy, Hitler was definitely bad, Joseph Stalin we don't really talk about. Which, I think it's the fact that the Russians were on the court of the Nuremberg trial is a very odd thing indeed. And the fact that we care so much about how many people died in Europe, but we never talk about Maoist China or what happened in the Soviet Union.
Those I think are kind of
that's
known, right?
I think, that's very common sense. This is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So our strategy should always be what is true and pursue what is true.
Okay.
I'm going to tear up.
Just like Gordon Pearson said.
I think I said I have a lot of takes, right? So I'm going to move to the next one.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So narcissism is actually based, if you do it well, And you said Trump is bad for narcissism reasons, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. So,
no, I'm gonna disagree with this. It's not based on you do well. Hold on, let's stick with this pro-Nazism thing. So, in your perfect world,
I'm basically done with that, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in your perfect world, what would you like to have be said about World War II?
I have nothing specific to lead up to, right? I think like just saying the words paint Nazism in a positive light. I think those words are just provocative enough, so I don't have like any specific lead up to this.
The Nazis provided a lot of jobs.
Yeah,
cool,
for example, right?
They're pretty cool tanks. They're pretty cool tanks.
They look pretty cool, right?
Hugo Boss dressed them up.
Exactly.
They knew how to build community.
Yeah, they're pretty good at like filmmaking too.
Do you agree that there's a significant danger associated with trying to paint Nazism in too positive a light?
Definitely. So I consider myself personally to be in a pretty good position to do that, because when I was like really young, like 16, well, when I was 16, I was being a little funny, right? I think a lot of 16-year-olds are pretty funny sometimes. Now I'm like a bit older.
Sounds like the prologue to the Joker movie. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you'll see it later. the sequel, I mean, with me as the main character.
Right.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
So no, that's what I was saying is like I was like not like pretty far right wing, but just like a funny 16-year-old getting criticized. Right?
You posted swastikas and grape room stuff and all that.
I don't think I've specifically done that, but you get the thing, right? So I have like kind of the momentum of being like, let's say, somewhat right and then moving to the left again. So I know how to play this game for me, right? But obviously there's significant danger in this. The question is basically, my question was, when is the correct time to do this play, right? Because you know, if you want to paint it, you know what, if you want to damage the Zionist bootlicking brand, basically.
Okay, I really regret agreeing to the framing of we should be ending the Zionist bootlicking. I use that facetiously, and perhaps I should not use it so much. Because what I really mean is we should do the moral and true thing, which is when there are immoral acts going on in the world, we should call them out as such.
Okay.
And the Zionist bootlicking is my silly heuristic of pointing to that.
Okay.
But now I'm reconsidering how much I should be saying that.
Does anybody want to know my opinion?
Yeah, Doug, what do you think about this? What do you think about how do we stop Zionist bootlicking?
You just stop giving Israel free stuff. Stop funding both Ukraine and Israel. But I would still be okay with Israel spending their own money and buying our stuff if they want to. But yeah, that's how you do it, and get rid of this evangelical Christian end times type stuff.
Zionists. Yeah. So that's our solution.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just care.
I'm not on the roadmap, on the plan, the strategic plan on our quarterly earnings. Nowhere is it painting Nazis in positive light. I would say is not on the.
Well, I mean, your last big presentation kind of had me up in big hopes, you know.
What, when I rebranded to far right
exactly, the rebranding.
Fascism?
I mean, I guess I didn't even think about.
Well, maybe in some twisted way, the reason I did that was so that people such as yourself, who have the experience that you do get their hopes up, and they think, "Oh, this guy might be one of the wink, wink, one of us."
Yeah.
And then you come on stream and realize, oh,
damn, I've been fooled.
Well, not entirely been fooled, because clearly you recognize my brilliance, but you also recognize that perhaps whatever goal you have, you should very deeply consider far longer.
I want to hear Marlon's take on narcissism, because Marlon, I'm perceiving Marlon's a very intelligent guy, much smarter than Paul.
He is, clearly.
So let's...
That's true.
Thanks.
Probably.
Okay, so the narcissism thing is basically just, you know, certain people like to play certain games. And so Elon Musk is also a good example of this. He's like some similarities to Trump in like his vibes, or like they on a podcast, I think, right? And so I think I had an idea of like Elon, he also has he's a pretty smart guy, obviously. He's done a lot of great things, but he also has maybe some emotional deficiencies, let's say. And so I think Elon has made a play where he has put his own ego, he has tied it up to a very important project of his, which is like getting humanity to Mars, right? And so he has made, I think, this is a guess of mine, but I think it's pretty realistic, that he has made it a mission to literally be buried on Mars, right? So like his literal grave will be on Mars. And like he will be the first human Homo sapiens being.
What does this have to do with narcissism?
that narcissism, if you play it right, can be a good tool to advance the mission. Because Elon's narcissism is basically fueling his entire mission of getting.
Yeah,
okay. That's common sense. Fine. Yes, confidence. I mean, what you could just.
Well, but that's more than it can be narcissism, right? I don't know. Like if people.
Okay,
like
let's say I agree with this on the face of it. Do you have any other?
Not really. I can go into the exact opposite direction, which is like a complete plug, a small plug. So right now is like saying narcissism is good. Now, but actually, ego is the root of all problems, right? We're like enlightened people here.
Thanks, Freud.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Freud.
Freud.
Didn't Freud say that?
Yeah, probably right. Okay, so first, Doug, I have a question for you. You're like a real Christian, right?
No, I'm an atheist.
Okay, but like if you were a real Christian.
But if I were.
Man, he's trying to fit that square peg in a round hole.
Like, are you actually an atheist?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his whole show.
You didn't know that?
Okay, damn.
Marion, let me ask you a question.
Like...
When did you come across my video?
This is curious though. What made you think I was a Christian in the first place?
I don't know. I think I just read like one of the points where you're arguing about Christianity. I had like the irony layers wrong, or like I didn't catch one layer of irony or something, and so then I just assumed that and just kept going.
The previous caller, I was like, "You love Jesus?"
Yeah, that one I was ready. I was already prepared for my thing.
First off, the way that you're talking, have you ever seen a therapist by any chance?
Yeah, more than one. Yeah.
Have you ever been diagnosed with anything?
Yeah.
Is it on the autism spectrum?
Paul.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't you understand that people have feelings?
No.
Are you saying autistic people don't have feelings, Doug? What the fuck?
I'm saying that medical issues are private.
We're just talking about trans, type 1, type 2. Listen. Marion, I see. All right. I see your pain,
Marlon.
I see the spectrum, okay? And it is powerful within you. You must be very careful.
The spectrum is
you must be I can tell, listen, you must be very careful, okay? But I have to
well, I didn't get to where I am by being careful. You have to end the call?
I do have to move on to a different caller.
Okay, so one thing first. I need you to do something. Open a new tab right now. Go on YouTube.
I don't take orders.
It's really important.
I take orders. Go ahead.
It's a better Bible. Okay, it's the Bible 2.0. Type in Jamie's channel. It's from Casually Explained. The guy, he has a different channel.
I do know Casually Explained, I think.
Do you know that he's enlightened, like literally?
Literally? How can you literally be enlightened?
Literally enlightened.
I mean, like there's a light bulb in his brain?
No. I mean the thing that like the Buddhists talk about, which is the end of suffering.
Hold on, Marion. All jokes aside, would you say you're enlightened?
Well, what is the you that you speak?
That's S tier comedy. That's a good bit.
That'd be a good point to kick Marlon off. No offense, Marlon, but that was beautiful.
But like the Jamie's channel.
Oh no, that's
literally.
Funny.
There are 3 videos that are the most 3 recent videos, right? Watch them in chronological order. It's fucking
the 3 most recent videos.
Yes.
Why? Why ought I do this?
Do it when you think like when you have a moment in life where you think like, is this when people turn to the Bible? When that thought crosses your mind, click that video. Okay.
That thought would not cross my mind, and now that I'm an atheist.
Marion, you are. I mean this. Marion, hold on, Marion. I mean this honestly. You are without a doubt the absolute strongest cognitive berserker I've ever come across. Okay.
I'm not quite sure what that means, but I think
I already know why people turn to the Bible for hope, meaning, and purpose. Marlon.
All right. Godspeed, Marion.
Bye.
See ya.
Appreciate it. Doug, I think we got to take a breath after that one.
I kind of like him.
Listen, he's. Do you know what a cognitive berserker is, Doug? Have you seen my best video of all time?
I haven't missed any of your videos, and I know exactly what a cognitive berserker is.
I did a video comparing every mental illness to a military unit in real-time strategy games.
Berserker.
I wonder what happens if you search cognitive berserker.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Autistics are the cognitive berserkers. Narcissists are heavy cavalry. Depressed people are spearmen. You don't play video games. This is all.
I played Mario Kart.
Fine. First off, I'm bringing on CPathy. He's been here for about 2.5 hours.
Speaking of narcissism, me and my friends took a test together on narcissism, and guess what? Yeah. I won.
I'm going to use Marion's line of Someone asked, "Are you enlightened?" What do you mean by you?
Such a
that's
thing
good.
to say. That's a Freud.
God,
thing.
that's great. All right, I'm gonna bring on CPAFI, and then I think we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon.
We're just waiting for Jesus to come. So,
yeah, I don't even. Kind of forgot the Ravens.
Literally enlightened. That's what
we can catch the end of it. All right, CPAFI coming on 3, 2.
And I am here. I have
arrived.
How do you get all these young people to watch you?
I don't know about you guys, but I love the taste of like fine Israeli leather. I don't know why you guys have such a problem with that.
Is that sort of like rich Corinthian leather?
Bootlicking.
You know why I hate this like would you save the kid or the embryos question? Because like if you have a 5-year-old kid who can't escape a burning building by himself, that's a defective kid. You need to let him die and try again.
I like this guy. CPAFI?
I know.
Your type
actually,
of humor.
Now that I see it, CPAFI's come on the stream before. I can actually see. CPAFI's it could be a Doug orbiter, a Pinecreek orbiter. Anyway, CPAFI, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm just here to give you really quick some policies that I might think help natalism. 3 good ones and one.
Natalism or anti-natalism?
Pronatalism.
Okay, pronatalism.
Having babies, okay.
Well, one anti-natalism that would become pronatalism, but to fix the population crisis.
Okay.
2 really short ones.
Okay.
1, college girls should have free access to freezing their eggs by the government, because I think we're having this issue where people are waiting too long to have kids, so they can freeze their eggs.
Okay.
You just let it get done.
We'll take your proposal.
I like your idea, but I think it should be privatized. And I think CPAFI and me, we start this.
And we make the money. In a similar vein, we can increase funding to like IVF or like other artificial means of producing children. Past general ages.
And they can take student loans out to pay for the frozen eggs. And
No, we don't give out student loans anymore. We just take the student loan money, we put it all into artificial wombs.
Freezing college girls' eggs. Which college girls' eggs do we? What sorority gets?
What about frozen sperm?
You know, I love my country, Paul. So I'll be the one to go to the colleges and pick out which.
Oh my God! Yep, this is fair. This is good comedy. I majored in biology on sorority row. Listen, go ahead. What's your next policy?
3rd one, very simple. A very incredibly aggressive propaganda campaign starting in kindergarten all the way up to college, TV shows, everything. Make parenting cool again.
Oh, I got a better one for you. Make cis cool again.
Make cis cool.
Yeah, that'll perturb the queer community.
Hey, you can't say that. You'll get mobbed on Twitter.
No. Return to monkey. This new technology.
It's a 2-for-1 deal.
Gender, it's very gauche. Like, you should just, like, accept how you are, We were all born this way, man.
Yep.
Let's praise the breeders and denigrate the non-breeders, yeah.
Well, and, okay, here's the one I think you're going to find controversial.
As if these weren't. Okay, go ahead.
The reason that underpopulation is a problem is because the population ages, so that the productive population becomes outnumbered by the unproductive populations, the olds.
The Dougs.
The Idiocracy. The movie Idiocracy.
Yeah, so many old people like Doug that you and I have to
support. What we often suggest is finding ways to increase the birth rates for productive peoples.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is finding ways to lower the birth rates of unproductive people.
Well, that's easy. Fluoride in the water.
Well, fluoride in the water. We could castrate violent criminals.
Yes.
Whenever a teenage girl goes in because she's pregnant, we slap her with the birth control injection because she's going to get pregnant a bunch more. Like, you're 15, you get pregnant once, you're going to get pregnant a lot again. This is a method.
Why not just sterilize poor people?
Well, that was I'm not thinking all poor people. Some poor people do good works, but the drug addicts for sure. So we put sterilization. We allow more drugs across the southern.
Look at this. This is your follower, Paul, not mine. What's so funny? I don't know why he's laughing. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Listen.
I'm laughing at you laughing at me. I don't know why you're laughing.
Oh, see, this is a simpatico thing.
Listen. It's
a petrol motion machine.
I appreciate your suggestions. We'll take these into consideration.
But seriously, like CPAFI, I one way you can promote more offspring in the United States, I think you're onto something. You promote family values, you promote the white picket fence and all that. You lower taxes on the breeders.
And you encourage dating for young people for the actual purpose of finding it. Like, I've been looking all over New England. I've been looking for my 7-foot-tall, genius-level IQ heiress from a rich family. Soul heiress.
Amazonian goddess.
And my Amazonian goddess. I haven't found her yet, but, I'm still looking.
See, Paffy, I told my son, I have a 18-year-old son, I said, I will pay for a very expensive date if you get a date in the next 30 days. And
that's a good deal.
And within 2 days, he had a date, but then things happened.
You don't want the first date to be expensive, because then she's going to expect that from every. You want the first date to be super personal, and you can build.
Ooh, you know what? The
second date's going to be good.
But fathers need to teach their sons how to pick up girls and how to treat them well, and not be scared of rejection. And just take that step out there rather than just sitting at home watching.
And by the way, for the people in the chat, this isn't a race thing. I actually think we should encourage mixed racing as much as possible.
Oh, now it sounds worse that you even bring this up. You shouldn't have said that.
Because
here's a general rule of thumb.
Here's a
general rule of thumb. Don't ever start for people in the chat. Okay, never speak to the people in the chat. Only speak to the people here.
I've noticed, like half black, half Asian girls. We don't see that enough, but I think it's
an important question.
We should be investing in that.
This is an important question I have for Doug. That has been a source of great tension in my.
Yes, I will pay for your first date if you can get a date the next 30 days, Paul.
Is Cheesecake Factory an acceptable first date location?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I said.
Yeah, why would it be?
What is Cheesecake Factory like?
What are you in high school? What are you going to take her to Wendy's? It's like I spent $100 at Cheesecake Factory.
Is it like nice?
Yeah, Cheesecake Factory is nice.
No, it sounds like a gross trash place.
Oh my God, people say.
Are you from North Dakota?
Yeah, where the fuck are you?
I'm from New Hampshire.
Oh, I got.
They don't have Cheesecake Factory in New Hampshire.
Got the end right.
Okay. Well,
Cheesecake Factory is like pretty ritzy where I'm from.
Yeah.
I used to go to JJ's.
I appreciate these very easily implementable policies you're offering.
Yeah, that are totally easy. I mean, some of them are really
controversial. But before you let him go, Paffy, do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Would you like one?
Looking for his biddy.
Sure. I mean, I was on a date the other day, and I started talking about the gold standard. And I haven't heard
what's
back.
wrong with you, Paffy? No. Okay, Paul, please don't let this guy go. He needs our help desperately.
Fine. I was going to say, Doug, maybe what we ought to do, maybe the most valuable thing we can do is not talk about January 6th with these people.
No, Paffy is hurting. Advice. He needs guidance on how to woo a woman.
I was at the cafe in Barnes and Noble, and I was like, in 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard.
So Paffy, this
true. It caused a lot of problems.
Paffy,
it's relevant to inflation. You could work that in if you're able to do it right.
Paffy, you got to remember the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time on your first date, you need to ask questions, but you can't be 100%. You want her to talk about her, and then 20% of the time you talk about yourself. Like you give an opinion, you make a claim. Don't be a wuss. Be a man. Stay with your beliefs.
And the other key thing is,
and don't be scared to hide your masculinity, Paffy, because your masculinity is oozing out of you, and don't be scared to show it. Women like that.
Yeah. Well, I met this girl in the woods. I was hunting. I was bow hunting, and I came out and she was there, and I was like, "Oh, you bow hunt too?" And she was like, "No, I'm a vegan." I was like, "Me too."
Is this a bit? Oh my God!
This guy is an unemployed comedian. Okay, now you can boot him.
Godspeed.
Okay.
Good luck for love. All right, we can do one more, and that's it. And if you've already been on, I got to give preference to someone else. So who here can straight up fucking, tear me and Doug a new one? Okay. Raise hands. Raise hands if possible. Okay, we're doing TJ. TJ it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final caller. It's the final caller. TJ's got a nice head of hair. It's a good contrast to you, Doug. And the Chiefs just scored. TJ. 3, 2.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up, pragmatic centrist?
All right. So I was going to talk about January 6th, but I heard way too much of that already.
Oh, me too.
Amen. Yeah.
You and I both.
TJ,
are you dating anyone right now? Are you dating anyone right now?
Yeah, you look like a breeder.
Breeder. Yeah, that's the gays call us straights the breeders. By the way, I found this out.
What is TJ gay?
I heard that too. Yeah.
No, TJ, are you gay?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I would say I'm straight. Yeah, I would
Good.
say that.
I would also say I am straight, but people try to convince me otherwise.
I'm a solid 2 on that scale. What is that?
I'm a
scale?
homosexual homelander.
Too. I think that's like a common thing now.
Listen, feminism, man. Hold on. TJ, because one of the things that Doug and I were thinking is we might put together a dating advice show for all the people that watch this channel, because clearly
What's that look, TJ? You don't think we're qualified to teach people how to date?
I just don't think that's the audience you're capturing here.
Well, yeah, we can pivot. We can pivot.
We can pivot. It's maybe about what they need more than what they want.
I just don't think I think that's a good thing. Like you can promote that channel with this channel. That's a thing people do.
That's fair.
We suck at what we're doing already, so we might as well pivot, right?
But I don't think
Doug's bad at it. That's fair. TJ, that's a fair point. What you've been waiting patiently. What did you want to bring up?
Doug said he wants small government and he supports Trump. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, it is funny. I agree with you. Like the Republicans in the last 30 years have spent way too much money, but I would still argue that they spent a little less than Democrats.
Well, yeah,
right?
That's true.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, it is true.
Didn't Trump say he's going to increase military spending?
The budget deficit under Biden is going to be bigger than Trump after comparing 4 years to 4 years.
That's fair.
So
listen, that's fair. And TJ, if that's all you got, that's fine too.
But TJ, I'm voting for Trump because I got to support older white guys.
I'm not a big fan of supporting old people right now.
What's wrong with older white guys? They're the ones who pay the taxes in this country.
The cringe older white guy versus the Chad young black woman.
Taxes in this country.
What? Who pays a lot of taxes in this country?
I think everyone pays taxes in this country.
Oh, can I educate you?
It's like the one thing that everyone says. Two things, right? Two things: death and taxes.
Okay, I'm talking about federal income tax because we were talking about Trump. Do you realize that the top 10% pay like the majority of taxes in this country?
Yeah, I think they should probably pay more.
Why?
Because like the amount that they're making or the amount that they own is like a disproportionate, probably level that it's like.
But is it theirs?
It's incomprehensible the amount that they have.
But what they have, is it theirs?
Well, I mean, you're gonna make me sound like a communist.
I'm going to make you sound like a communist. I'm gonna pull out of you what you really believe.
Do you ever get bored of presuppositional?
This is not presuppositionist.
This is presuppositional.
Well, why even
you're
have
making me sound like a communist?
No.
I don't sound like a communist.
So TJ, when I make money, when you make money, is it your money? Is it my money? Or is it society's?
Well, what do you mean? When I go to work and I get a paycheck?
Yeah, whose paycheck is that?
It's 30% goes to the government, so 30% is the government's. What do you?
Right, but before taxes, it's your money, and then 30% comes off and goes to the government.
No, what do you mean? 30 before what? It's I don't see the paycheck. I don't see the money.
Okay, that's right. You're a W-2. See, I'm a self-employed guy, so I make the money. And then I have to pay my taxes after. But that's my money, right?
Well, I think W-2s are pretty important. I think most people should be taught how to.
Hold on. I just want to say something right now.
Sorry.
Okay, hold on. No. It's not your fault. This is not your fault. This is Douglas's fault.
No. Hey,
it is 9:42 on a Thursday. I am not going to talk about W-2s.
Okay. I can make this fun.
I don't want to get. Listen, we're not.
I can make it fun, Paul.
Listen.
I can make it fun for you. I can get out my crayons and make it fun.
W-2s need to be talked about. Everyone needs to learn how to do a W-2. That's like one of the most important things.
Yeah, but TJ, don't scare Paul. Like he hasn't filed yet, and he's a little anxious about it.
All right, I'm gonna take a extended break from streaming.
Yeah, go pee.
I think.
Wait,
I think,
sorry. Okay,
I think
that does sound like I do sound like a shill for the IRS, right? But like, I think it's.
You sound like a victim of Doug's pointless presuppositionalism that he whips out.
Well, I mean, that happened too, but
all right, hold on. This is the more
really
important. Listen, this is the more important question at hand here. Douglas.
Yeah.
Will you debate Destiny?
On what? January 6th?
Yeah, would you debate Destiny on January 6th?
I really don't want to.
But you would, right?
You know why?
Why is that?
Because
Hold on,
because I think it would go exactly the way your other caller came in. Of course, Destiny knows a lot more and is more rhetorical. But who was that other caller who wanted to talk with January 6th? He will. What will end up happening is similar to some of the debates Destiny's already had, where he will go into the weeds and just how this is bad and this is bad and this is bad, and not the big picture thing. Well, okay, yes, I agree with you, it's bad, but we disagree on the level of badness for the future.
Yeah, okay. So what would you want to debate Destiny on?
I don't know. Actually, I think we agree. Like his view of capitalism, socialism, economics, I think he and I agree a lot.
Yeah, he has a really.
If I were to tell you that a certain omni-liberal streamer said, "Hey, put me in contact with this Doug guy and set something up," you wouldn't want to.
Destiny?
You wouldn't want to be involved.
What, Destiny's already said yes to me?
No, hold on. Let me give you a hypothetical. Right?
I love hypotheticals.
I know you
precept on me.
I'm gonna precept. No, I'm gonna precept you with a hypothetically.
Thanks for hanging around listening to me and Paul talk, TJ.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. Appreciate it. Thank you. You're our final guy. So you're
don't kick him. Leave him.
Back room. Yeah, you're hanging out in the back room.
He's giving me follicular support.
So hypothetically, Doug, if Destiny, or maybe I reached out to Destiny and asked ahead of time to confirm, but hypothetically, if Destiny would agree to appear on let's say a neutral platform that was communicated to both of you for 2 hours. This is hypothetical, Doug. It's hypothetical. Would you agree to it?
Yeah, I think so.
And what would you want to talk about? What would the topic? What would you want the stream to be?
You know what? I would want to talk about many issues, so I wouldn't want to pigeonhole myself on one.
Okay, that's fair.
I think you should just do Kamala v. Trump. That would be good.
Would you do that? Would you do Trump versus Kamala?
Yeah, we could do that. We could do anything.
I think he would probably just go straight to J6 though, because that's his like.
Yeah, you ask anything about politics with Destiny, and the answer is always going to be January 6th.
Hypothetically, I could.
It's reasonable to go back to January 6th a lot of the time because it is. I think it is pretty monumental.
Yeah, listen.
I don't think
monumentous.
I don't think we need to.
It is their 9/11.
I mean, 9/11 was monumentous too.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's their 9/11. Never mind. It's getting late. Listen. Hold on. Listen.
I think 9/11 was a countrywide thing.
No, that's
fair.
Well,
I guess it is not. It was a countrywide thing.
TJ.
Sorry.
When did you first come across my channel? What video did you first see?
I saw you I think I saw a League of Politics thing.
Brilliant.
And when did you first come upon my channel?
And then I saw Destiny's, and then I started watching you.
Nice. When did you come across Doug?
Doug, through you. I saw your tier list.
Of course, yeah, I know these.
Your Orbiter tier.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you saw that, Doug. You're on my Orbiter tier list. I think you were C tier.
Yeah, C tier.
Yeah, you'd be in B, but the
hair thing. I would have got an A, except for the hair.
No, you would have got higher than C. Anyway,
you're
TJ,
an anti-baldite.
Hold on, TJ. I appreciate this. I need to take you off so I can get me and Doug on here, and then I can clip this.
Get out of here.
And
TJ, stop hating rich people.
Okay, so
they're
Doug,
the ones who pay for your food stamps.
We're not taking more callers today, everyone. So we'll do this the next time that Doug and I gather. But Doug, just to be clear, you hypothetically.
What's with this wry smile on your face?
It's a hypothetical, Doug. You ever looked in the mirror when you ask these hypothetical questions? You're talking wry smiles.
Now I know what I look like. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I like it.
But hypothetically, if Destiny agreed to have a conversation with you or a debate, and it was Trump versus Kamala, And I fluffed him ahead of time and said, "Hey, is there any way to have this argument without going down into January 6th details?" Which in this hypothetical hasn't been ironed out already. But hypothetically, if that were ironed out, you'd have that conversation.
Sure. And I'm not opposed.
How many weeks in advance would you need to prepare?
Let's do it tonight, baby.
No, not tonight.
I don't need any prep time. Like, I do not like formal debates like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. No.
I hate them too.
Yeah,
of course not.
I like this.
I mean, again, hypothetically, a neutral platform.
Like, if I could snap my fingers, you'd be gone and Destiny would take your place. I mean...
And if I could snap my fingers, Doug, you'd have a whole nice head of hair.
Yeah.
As much product as mine. Okay.
I would love to talk to Matt Dillahunty as well. I mean, that would be fun. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, of course I know who that is.
Well, not of course, but
Matt Dillahunty's one of the best. Okay, well, hey, I'm glad that you're so eager to have this conversation hypothetically.
I think it would do wonders for your career, yeah. To host that.
I mean, I would certainly happily grift off this and not even utter a sentence, even because you two are both adults, and I think
Des and I would love to help a little person like you.
That's true. How many subscribers do you have again? Remind me.
I don't know exactly, but it's something like 33.214.
Yeah, I think you do have more than me right now. So.
Oh yeah,
I can't really. That's okay. It's just a number. It's just a number. You know, just like height.
Yeah, it's
or
just
girth.
a number. But I've lost like 2/3 of my atheist audience because they can't handle the truth.
You separate the wheat from the chaff.
And then the evangelicals have found my channel because of the shorts I've been doing, and then they find I'm an atheist, and they go, "What? What's going on?"
I know. Well, apparently this guy didn't even know.
I guess I give that cultural Christian vibe.
You do. Well, I told you this in the first meeting. I said you've admitted you're a cultural Christian and enlightened centrist. So,
well, guilt by association. Like I'm married to one, and if the New Testament's true, I'm going to heaven because of her.
And did you ever get baptized?
Of course.
Yeah, you were a Mennonite.
Yeah. Well, I was the first Mennonite to get submerged. I went full baptism in a pool. The Mennonites usually just throw water.
Did you really believe it when you were a Mennonite, or did you kind of the whole time be like...
No, I really believed it, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you make arguments for it?
Yeah. The trilemma argument I made. But the problem, it's called the trilemma argument.
Yeah, it's like one of them...
Jesus, liar, lunatic, or Lord. But the problem is there's never anybody smart enough to talk against me back then.
But then the internet came about.
And then the internet hit, yeah.
And lo and behold.
The
smartest person you've
Sam
ever
Harris,
the smartest person you've ever
Hitchens.
spoke to now speaks to you now.
Yeah.
So sad. All right, we got to wrap this up. We'll do this again sometime.
Yeah. How did you think this went?
I thought it went well. I think we'll definitely do one caller at a time. I tried two at a time, and that's too much.
I was actually a little worried about doing this with you because I thought we wouldn't work well together as a team because we're different personality types. I tend to like conflict more than you do, and I joke around a little more than you do, although you do joke around. But I was pleasantly surprised how well we work together.
Doug, I knew this from the beginning. So like I said, I'm a good judge of character. You have a good eye for autistic logic, and that's what you're good at. But I've got a good eye for personality driving, and I knew this would work. We've also done this multiple times. You've come on my stream. We've essentially done.
Yeah, I've come on your stream many times, but you've been very controlling of me, and I felt like your whipping boy. And frankly,
right,
it hurt me. And but no. But this time, it's like we were peers, and I wasn't your little boy.
Finally,
yeah.
Finally, Doug.
And I really appreciated that emotional upheaving you gave me tonight.
Listen, God compels me to serve the elderly.
You know what? And if God really did that, then I think everybody should believe in God because you did wonderfully.
You know what I told my pastor? By the way, I started going to church again. Did I tell you that?
No.
I mean that 100%. I'm not even joking.
To find women, or?
That's part of it.
I knew it. And that's a good place to look for women.
Goodest place ever, right?
Yeah.
No, and I'm also trying to trying to do more volunteer stuff and just get more, because there is a part of me that's like, I can't sit here and bitch online about all these different problems if I'm not actually making a difference in my local community. And I've met with the pastor a couple times. We talked theology, actually. He's a pretty open-minded guy. And so it's great.
How is it you're not snagged up already? Like, you got hair and you got...
Well, I was in a relationship.
What was the other thing?
We broke up about 2 months ago. She was a little...
How long were you dating?
About 7 months.
Ooh, so that hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You want to talk about it off air?
We had no, I'd rather talk about it on air. We had different views about truth in terms of with my YouTube career, obviously. You know, it's like I was like, it's very important for me.
It's not really a career, let's be honest.
I know. Trust me, I know. I know I've seen the numbers. It's a tax write-off. That's what this is. But it was like, it's very important that my partner is someone that I can engage with kind of intellectually and like, well, what do you think about this or whatnot? And she felt it was more me arguing to try and, you know, kind of, well, you just want to be right. And it's like, well, I want to discuss, you know, what your opinions are on this matter. And it would turn into arguments pretty often. So we split up after that.
Interesting.
She's a great person.
So the looks wasn't enough then?
That was probably the hardest part of it all, was leaving. Because I very well could have rationalized, like, I could stick around and, you know, just not argue as much. But, you know, my thing is, as soon as you know that it's not going to work out long term, I don't think I think you got to get out of that relationship.
So you're in a relationship for marriage then?
Oh, of course.
Excellent.
What better path forward?
And are you going to be a breeder?
Oh, I want to have a bunch of kids. Oh yeah, 6 kids probably.
See, okay, I want the world to know this.
Please.
I think you should. You are the type of American we need. We need an American like Paul,
square chin,
who says, "I want a woman. I want to breed. I want many kids. I want to
breed.
I want to find truth." Yep. I mean, we ought to, as a society, say, you know what, Paul, if you can accomplish these things, you don't even have to pay taxes. I mean,
listen, and I want a wife who will submit to me as much as I honor her, and no more and no less, because I do not believe a woman should submit to her man unless the man honors her. And I fully intend to honor my wife, Doug.
When you say honor, you mean love, respect,
of course, yeah,
cherish, protect,
yes. Yes, and then in return, when I'm streaming, you know, just a ham sandwich.
You're okay with her working outside the home?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I would prefer that my partner makes more money than I do, because then she could fund my tax.
Your cocaine habit? Oh,
yeah. And she could fund all my expeditions to the Gombe, where I can study chimpanzee, which is my true life passion.
You know, Paul, we don't need guests. This conversation is so interesting.
I think, you know, we listen. We can talk offline. We can discuss. We can do a
Paul and Doug show.
A Paul and Doug dating show. We can bring on people and we'll do. We'll need to find some women though to serve as.
I have a 21-year-old daughter.
Yeah, you've mentioned this before.
Yeah,
I think I offered you.
Give me 100 shekels. She's yours.
Well, I think I offered you camels last time.
Camels.
Camels are sheep.
The cigarettes.
So.
Oh. Here's a packet.
Camels I have no use for, but the cigarette, that's fair. Well, we can discuss the price.
Okay.
All right. Anyway.
Oh, how do we end this? We got 2 live streams going. I gotta get my bumper music going.
Yeah. So I can.
Do you have bumper music, or are you still an amateur?
No, I don't know. I go raw. No.
You go raw.
I go raw. I raw dog it.
That's.
I start on.
There's so many things I could say there.
How old is Paul? Doug, how old do you think I am?
I know how old you are. You are 26.
27.
Okay.
Close. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream here.
Okay. I got to end mine too. So can we just separate paths, or do you need me to hold your hand?
Oh. Back.
Yeah. I'm going to click off now, Paul.
Okay.
So
all right.
Goodbye and thank you. Yeah. That was fun. Sorry, I was not paying attention to the live stream chat. Oh, I'm too loud. Hang on. Turn that down. Sorry, I was not paying attention to my live stream chat. But now I will. Thanks, what? Facepalm Sandy. Sandy, you loved this live stream, didn't you? As my one token female. Oh no, Jamie, of course. Jamie is the mod, yeah. Some interesting guests tonight. I think all but one were his guests, though, from his followers. You guys got to pick up the slack. Just the gay guy was my supporter. But the gays love me, though. That's why. It was a tad fun, of course. Yeah, we worked well together because we both appreciate sarcasm, appreciate humor. But yeah, the way we interacted with each other went way better than I thought it would. Of when to zig and when to zag. Yeah, Sasha. Gay, he's a gay man who loves me. Right, Sasha? Poof. Okay, I gotta get real work done now. Thanks for hanging out.